Hello everyone and welcome to ESL Challenger League. Excited for me and Hayes to kick off the EU division of Season 47 tonight. We're starting off with a bit of a banger.
Yeah, we are indeed. I mean, we've got some good success in the side of Saw recently having qualified for the major, of course. Complete antithesis for RUSHB, not that they even attempted to qualify, but we have no idea what to expect from them. So it should be exciting. I mean, that's the one thing we can sort of look forward to.
Yeah, and of course now EU Challenger League is getting underway once again in Season 47. We can have a quick look at the format, of course, about how this is all going to work out this season. It's a bit of an extensive graphic this time, but I love it because the graphic is great. We've got 24 teams, of course, 2 group stages. We've got Stage 1 and Stage 2. As you can see, we've got 4 separate groups there. We're going to be focusing our attention on Group A to start today, but it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out over the course of this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a really important part of the calendar year for a lot of teams, right? To progress into ESL Pro League. It's a way for them to continue to progress up the ranks as we now get a look at the different groups. Any group that stands out to you as the group of death there, Trav? Look at Group D, man. There's some big names in Group D.
Yeah, some big names in Group D, mostly because now we've got Nine Pandas and Movistar Koi, both recent major qualifiers, right?
Yes.
Got some big EU mixed teams there in TSM who have not been great, I think it's fair to say, and Sangal with their brand new roster as well. They're going to look to try and bounce back. And some great names in this league looking to try and obviously make it through and make those spots available for Pro League.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting times ahead here for all of these teams in the competition. 24 teams, only 2 spots up for grabs in Pro League, and it's going to be all out warm. And I couldn't be more keen to be casting a couple of games along the way. What's up next year? We're going to be focusing on this particular matchup, right? Saw versus RUSHB. Now, how many points do you give them for originality in terms of their name, Trav? Because not many from my camp.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a basic one. I wouldn't necessarily go with that. Let's have a quick look at the schedule to see what we're going to be looking at today, of course. These are the 2 matchups that we will be seeing. It's Pera versus System 5. That's the ex-ICLA boys. On the A stream, ESL CS. That's, of course, Letcro, Krem, for example, on that roster. Against Pera, with the Hungarian core, of course. But on this team, on this stream, I should say, Saw and RUSHB to try and see who starts off the season successfully. Looking forward to seeing how this one will go. I believe we can have a look at the matchup coming in now. Because this is a game that will probably be seen as very one-sided by a lot of people, and probably rightly so. However, I had a little bit of a backtrack on research here of Saw. In Saw's last 7 matches against Russian teams, they may have been better than RUSHB, but they've lost 6 of them.
Okay, well, clearly maybe struggling with the sort of play style that comes from that region or something. Hopefully something they're going to be able to iron out coming into this particular game. I mean, you look at the names there in RUSHB, and honestly, I'm not actually too familiar with any of them. Kinky, Cairo, Executor, Nota, and Texi as well. Anything from your side there, Trav? Have you had the pleasure of casting these guys before?
Once in an open qualifier that I did on my own stream. Kinky is an old name from the Dream Heaters Hard Legion dance. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. At 32, he's by far the most experienced, and they need that because they've got 2 16-year-olds on their team in Nota and Texi. In particular, Nota has put up some good games against some established Tier 3 teams, so he's one to keep an eye on for sure. But yeah, 2 of their players, exactly, 2 of their players add up to Kinky's age, which is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, Saw are obviously the favourites. They recently came through the RMR, finally getting some great success for them after so many years of trying.
I mean, it just feels like it all came together, right? It was the perfect storm. I love the direction that Saw went, and after they failed to qualify for the Antwerp Major, I think it was, where they lost to outsiders then, now Virtus Pro. Think about the changes they made, bringing in U-Jerks and Arazdoce as well. And Story might have also been brought into the team after that. But the point is, they incorporated new up-and-coming players and youth from the region, along with players like Roman and Mutarus, the experienced, seasoned veterans. And they got the balance right, and now they've been rewarded for it. So I'm really excited to see them at that next major.
Absolutely, and they proved it's never too late, right? I mean, there's incredible scorelines in those 3 matches that they played to actually make it through. I think they lost 25 rounds in 3 whole BO3s, and that's NIP, Enterprise, which obviously are the team they're expected to beat, but NIP and Fnatic just destroyed both of them. And we know that NIP are not in a good state, and Fnatic have a brand new team, but still, and Ujux in particular was fantastic. I believe we have a veto to have a quick look at as well. Let's see what we'll be playing this evening. It's going to be an Anubis pick for RUSHB, and that's interesting because they've picked right into the strength of Saw.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. They've played Anubis 3 times. They've won it on every single occasion. But as you say, it is the strength of Saw. You kind of have to make that decision as the underdog. Are we going to pick our strengths even if they overlap with the strengths of the favorites? Or are we going to try and pick one of their weaknesses? They've gone with the former here, and I don't think Saw are complaining.
No, absolutely not. And the thing is, as well with Saw, something I always have mentioned with them, and I mentioned with all Mutas's editions, I guess, of Saw that he's led over the years, they're always one to adopt one of the new maps really early. When Vertigo came out, they were straight on it. When Ancient came out, they were one of the first to ever play an HLTV game on it, if I'm not mistaken. And Anubis,
Okay, wow.
almost exactly the same thing.
Sure, that's an interesting point. I hadn't considered that. A pioneer of sorts, always happy to take on new challenges. A lot of people mentally hate change, and then that ends up obstructing them from actually, being able to make progress. So I love that he embraces it. Of course, we didn't get to talk about the pick that comes afterwards there from Saw is Vertigo. Map they played 4 times in the past 3 months. Sort of speculating off air if they're going to try to play maps they haven't played as much recently to maybe grow the map pool a little bit going into the major. So Vertigo coming through for Saw. We know it's a solid map for them.
Yeah, we do, and that's why I think it's pretty obvious, as I believe we're going to have a quick look at our own predictions now, of course, that we're not going to be choosing anyone other than the favourites today. As I said, there are some situations that we could argue, okay, last 7 matches against Russian teams, they've lost 6 of them, but they're against good teams, VP, 9 Pandas. Like, there are some teams here that are a lot higher in the echelons of Counter-Strike than RUSHB are, and yeah, I think for that reason alone, Saw... It can happen, though, the hangover of happiness and celebration from qualifying for your biggest event of your career, finally getting those major stickers, and that sort of relaxation of knowing you've got economic security, I guess. We all know how much the major stickers get you these days. So, yeah, there might be a bit of a hangover of happiness from that. We'll have to see.
At the same time, though, you know that they're going to look to make the most of this opportunity they've earned, right? So I don't think they're going to be gearing down now between the RMR and the Major. I think that these guys are going to be so passionate and so excited about that opportunity that they want to work the hardest they possibly could between now and then. So I'm expecting Saw to bring their A game here for RUSHB. I certainly understand where you're coming from and agree with that sentiment in general, but I think in this instance, Saw should be on top of that.
Absolutely should be. I mean, as you say, they are the favourites without a shadow of a doubt, and what they've shown on LAN recently as well. We all know online Counter-Strike can be a little bit more unpredictable, and that's where some of these sort of lesser teams in Challenger League can really show what they're made of. But Saw, like, they're absolutely unbelievable. I think I wrote down the stat. Let me see. I think I've got it here. Yes, I do. In those 3 BO3s against NIP, Enterprise and Fnatic, they went 78-25 in rounds in those 3, and Ujux in particular was absolutely superb. It was a bit of a fairy tale storyline, because you rightly mentioned Saw's old game against outsiders in that major qualifier, the historic heartbreak of that Stododo leg shot on Jame. Oh. I don't think any Portuguese Counter-Strike fan will ever forget that, but it's nice that that's been put to rest now, because of course Stododo's made it through as well with Koi.
Yeah, I remember exactly. Yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday, man. You say Portuguese people. I mean, I'll remember that forever. It was complete and utter heartbreak for Saw at the time as Stododo as well, and they crumbled in overtime, right? But redemption for them now, qualifying for the first CS2 major, which will arguably be a lot bigger than what Antwerp would have been anyway, right? So, just shifting the conversation now back to RUSHB for a bit. These guys haven't played much Counter-Strike recently at all, Trav. Their most recent game, at least in terms of matches on HLTV, was against Espionage 4 weeks ago. Before that, 7 weeks ago against ILIN, another Russian team, and then Quack Quack. You know, it's not sort of the names that you associate with Saw's level in general. So yeah, there's so many factors stacked up against RUSHB coming into this one.
Yeah, because of course at the end of last year they made it through ESEA Advanced, right? That's how they got back into Challenger League. So they have been one of the teams that have been grinding up through the lower leagues. There are only 2 real successful wins that have been impressive recently. Have been likes against ICLA before they were System 5, of course, that we'll be seeing on the mainstream, and TSM as well. And we know that TSM have been a bit of a mess, really. So, yeah, we're going to wait for the game to get underway, though, of course. But I believe we're going to throw it to a break. When we're back, we'll get into the match. Should be a matter of minutes before Saw and RUSHB do battle in Challenger League in Season 47. It is the first day of games in EU as well, so we're going to get to see the first battle of how this season will go down, of course, in a very long season at that too, with 4 separate groups. We had a bit of a chat about that earlier, but we can get into it a little bit more, of course, while we wait for the game to get underway. There's tons to come this season, of course, and the 4 separate groups of so many teams, so many exciting teams that have already shown their hand really amazingly in the major qualifiers too.
Well, it's just a reflection of what a big tournament it is, as it runs over 4 months. 4 groups, 6 teams in each group, 24 teams competing for those 2 spots at Pro League, everything on the line. Yeah, it's a big part of the calendar year for a lot of these teams, right? So a really important opportunity for them, especially teams that are kind of off the radar, team like RUSHB, a chance to kind of make their way and show everybody what they're capable of. They've got a tough group here and a tough opening game, but this is what it's all about.
It is, absolutely. And I think we're not too far away from getting into it as well, which is great to hear. So we'll get that started very soon. But yeah, I mean, their group in particular, of course, Group A, it's not easy. You've got the likes of Monty, who have just lost SDY, of course, which is a huge pain for them. I think that's one of the most interesting decisions to leave for a while, because it's really, you look at what SDY's other options are and you mostly think, are they just lateral moves really that he's really got? Can he go up any further? Like, we'll have to see.
What about NIP, mate?
Yeah, true. NIP, that's definitely not lateral right now. That's the opposite way. But yeah, System 5, RUSHB, Vertigo as well. Vertigo are actually quite a good team. We don't see them play that much. It's of course the Belarusians as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that team. You know, they were previously known as Iron Branch.
Yes.
Before they got picked up by an org, and those guys just kind of came out of nowhere. I remember Knifey, Ganginio. I don't think Ganginio plays for them anymore, right? But he was one of the players that was in the mix as well.
Originally, yeah.
Like Sad and Masfel. Yeah, I rep that team, man. I think that Vertigo team is going to be one of the teams to make it through the group.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting, of course, because there are only 2 spots in every single group, of course. So that's going to make it very interesting, at least for immediate progression.
Vertigo. Who do you pick?
If it's Monty still had SDY, I'd say Monty, but now I'm really unsure about how to feel about Monty. So I think for logically I have to pick Monty still, but yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Yeah, it's definitely one of the most open groups, I would say. Like, the obvious favourites, I think, for Group B are probably Apex, 3D Max, and Fours for those 2 immediate spots. Paravision have not shown anything yet, despite how good that new roster can be. But yeah, we'll have to see. We will have to see. We've got our first map of Saw versus RUSHB, though. We've had a little bit of a delay, but hopefully we're going to get into the game very quickly. So yeah, I'm excited for it. We're going to get underway. It is Anubis, and it is RUSHB starting on T side. Will they actually RUSHB? Let's see.
Well, hopefully they live up to the name, right? So it's going to be pretty awkward if not either way. Saw will have the choice of sides.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So this knife round doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, of course. That's why we have a lot of team damage going on right now. But where do you even choose to start on Anubis these days? Because this still kind of feels like it's up in the air, right? It did start off as a very T-leaning map, but as time's gone on, more and more teams have been happier to start their campaign on the CT side.
Yeah, I think, honestly, at this point, T side is still the absolute favourite. However, there have been a lot more strategies that at least I've seen recently that make it... make that CT side a little bit more viable, a little bit more extra things you can do, and some like nice long-range smokes you can throw in from B and A to block off positions in canals, which let you get a bit more aggressive control outside A rather than just on the inside of the site. So yeah, interested to see if we see any of that today, but we're about to get underway, and the pistol round will be firstly taken up by RUSHB. So I lied about the sides, of course, because they hadn't done the knife round yet. And we're going to be dropping down into Canal to take the B-bomb site for Saw.
Well, RUSHB is the play. It's just coming through from Sword. So you won't completely auto mark, as we do see them gaining some control. Bomb is going to shift its way through here as well. All the utility in the round has been dumped by the flash here on Kinky. Arasdoche behind the pack. He gets so much information. Seeing 2 players in mid. Doesn't actually have to force these fights, but he will anyway. Kills coming through for Saw right now. No bomb plant. What on earth is going on? They've decided to pivot. They're heading A.
They're going all the way through the CT as well, by the looks of it. They forced Kinky back down to the beach. And Ujux has managed to make his way through with the bomb, so somehow they've managed to circumvent their way through there. Not a bit of an unusual one, but Arasdoche will take Texi down The Sweet Rice already having a great start. 2 kills on the board for him. Kinky, though. Ooh, if he got that second, there would have been a glimmer of hope in this round because he had the kit as well. Now it's just Nota, and he's been spotted out by you, Jerks. It's been very, very hard for him to do much here. And saving his Kevlar might be the order of the day.
Yeah, unfortunately, not even going to be like it's a full health Kevlar and just spends the extra 350 to get head armor, but he's not going to be saving anything. RUSHB with the triple kill, he was the one to make his mark in towards middle. Bit of a, I guess, relatively speaking, a late lurk as his teammates had already got themselves into the sites. He was just trailing a bit behind them, catching off those 2 players rotating through the canals. Just threw a spanner in the works for RUSHB. I don't know how Saw didn't plant the bomb in and amongst all of that chaos, though, on the B site. I don't know what happened there. Still worked out for them, though.
It did. You would have thought at that point they would have been able to take it, but they managed to escape and plant it elsewhere. No worries in the end. And on a map like this for Saw, you do worry if RUSHB don't win a force buy like this. I'd say it's a force buy. It's actually more of a half buy. It's not a full investment at all here for RUSHB. They're sort of buying up the pistols, but keeping a bit in reserve to make sure they have the utility they want on the gun round. I don't mind that. Sometimes you see CT sides fully investing and then obviously having to commit to the full eco after that, and then their gun round doesn't have all the utility they want, so...
I think this is a happy medium, but I'm just not entirely sure what the investments is going to look like next round.
Probably more of the same.
What they're going to get, $2,900 once they lose this round? $2,400. I don't know, man. Either way.
Yeah.
More of the same, as you say, means that they're going to have to wait for that 4th round before they can get an investment. And that's why we see most teams just full saving in the 2nd round here, right? So they can just get the M4s in the 3rd round. Guess RUSHB realize as well as the underdogs here, Trav, that they have to get themselves, you know, full sets of weaponry. Maybe they want the double AWP setup. That's why they're playing the long game here.
Yeah, of course. It's not one you see often. It's like, as I said, it is kind of like the 3rd option that you kind of see, the rarer one. It's either a full investment, a full eco to get M4s, and at least a tiny bit of util in the immediate 3rd round. This is the one you don't see as much of. But they're going to save the 5.7 and the Deagle. Problem is, of course, with that, it means it leaves Saw to build up their own money significantly.
Yeah, that's a really good injection of cash into the bank accounts of Saw with all 5 of their players staying alive. And you look at the money here for RUSHB, certainly not enough for them to go for an investment share, right? Just getting that injection of cash. Enough for some upgraded pistols once again. I don't know, Trav. Are you a fan of this approach? Is this what you would call...
It's weird, isn't it? It is like, what did I say? It's like a carbon copy. Just 2 kind of same old pistol buys in a row. I feel like it obviously gives you less of a chance to actually win those rounds. Does it average out overall by the fact you get 2 of them? I'm not too sure, to be honest. But, yeah, obviously it's something that they like to do.
Well, I am glad to see that they're doing something out of the ordinary here. 4 players leaning in towards the A side, 2 players aggressive, so if they do get run over, then maybe Saw think the rest of the sites is cleared, so they rush through a little bit carelessly. There is going to be a flash over the top. That's a nice play. RUSHB, though, blinded, will still be able to round the corner, keep his life intact, and now he can reap the rewards of his good movement. Despite his lack of vision, he's able to see clearly. At the end of the day, he gets a good triple kill.
That's only early on in the game, but it's crazy that RUSHB has kind of done all the work so far. He's 8-0, only Mutiris and Roman. Now Roman will double up, but yeah, and what was great to see as well from Roman in those major qualifiers in the RMR. Nice shot, Executor. It's AK, he's going to get a rude awakening though, and the story will remove it. But yeah, it was great to see the old wise heads of Roman and Mutiris, in particular, doing so great in those 3 games that I mentioned in a row that they won. That 78-25 streak, destroying NIP and Fnatic in 2 of those 3 games. And yeah, it's that experience which we've seen in RMRs in the past for so many years, and we're thinking, okay, one day they're going to make one because they just have so much knowledge of the game over all these years. Mutiris, I think, has been playing since 1.6, so yeah, and only now he makes his first major. It's just it's a great story.
Well, I'm so glad that they did, because it could have been one of those stories where it's just a tragedy where they never actually get that opportunity, despite the fact that they've come so close. A number of times, Kiro comes incredibly close to finding an opening kill there. Not going to connect on the shot, though. First full gun round in effect. RUSHB, they've got the weapons in play here, but control's already been taken by the T side. Kinky looking to try and regain a bit of information, but he just catches a bullet to the brain.
Our opening. New Jerks, I mentioned he was one of the most impressive in those 3 games in the pre-match of this one. And he'll get off the mark now. He had nothing to do in the first couple of rounds. Still 0 deaths for him too. Texi will drop down. I mentioned he's, of course, one of the 2 youngsters on this roster. They've got 19 and 2 16-year-olds. Nice shot from Kiro. That will mean that the reign of the Sweet Rice will now finally go down. His first death of the game after 8 kills. But Story will answer back straight away. And his impact on the AWP has been superb lately as well. Full control of mid, they can choose to go either way.
This is still really awkward for RUSHB though, because each of the players were kind of committed to a single part of the map without any support. However, the AWP has been able to lock it down over on the A bomb site. Another kill will level the numbers back into even keel. Bomb plant going to come through for Saw. 3 versus 3. There is a kit in play and some utility for the retake, but if RUSHB lose this, it sets them back, or sets them on the back foot in the half.
Indeed it does. Executor can maybe peek below the crosshair placement of Story, but that's just way too fast. Beautifully done.
Sad.
And that is that. Noto unfortunately makes some noise dropping down off the stairs as well, so Roman knows exactly where he's running to save. Can Noto hold this line and at least keep this M4 alive into the next round? Roman is running, and there we go. Didn't see him in front of the sand on the beach there. Quite a nice saving position. They will manage to keep the AWP and the M4 alive, so that is something.
Yeah, at least, right? Can drop a gun, can Nota, Kiro can too, so we'll probably see a decent arsenal of weaponry coming through for RUSHB in the next round, but this is where you start to see the effects of MR12 coming through, right? It's been a discussion as of late after the conclusion of the European RMR at least, and people are kind of saying, man, the half just gets out of control so quickly, you lose control of the economy, you get an AWP maybe 1 or 2 times throughout the half, not enough time to counter your opponents and really build an effective strategy to deal with whatever's going wrong. And that's exactly what RUSHB are going to be faced with right now if they can't get on the board soon enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, at least the 2-man save with the loss bonus they have now means they can fully invest again. It's only Executor on MP9 is the only really fallback, and we all know how good those MP9s can be. Canal. 2 players on the other side. I'm not sure if he knew that was 2, but through the smoke, Texi already will drop. That's on the outskirts of A there. As Dotcha is the sort of A defaulter on the T side. Already up to 9, as I mentioned before. More than all of his teammates combined still. If that continues until the later period of this game, that'll be kind of ridiculous. And it's a bit of a lean over toward A as well for the CT side, so I think they're in for a rude awakening on B.
Yeah, especially if Saw do commit in this direction, which looks like it's going to be the case. All 5 players shifting across here. RUSHB have decided to go for a gamble. I don't really mind this decision. We know how difficult the CT side of Overpass is, and they've lost the first pick, so they kind of have to just roll the dice, stack up with majority of their players on one bottom side and hope for the best. If Saw don't end up coming in that direction, you can just save your guns, right, and carry them through. They'll still have a decent amount of weapons to work with in the next round. They just forfeit the point. But that's the problem with losing the first pick so early in the round, and that's all Saw needed, really. 1 kill, force the rotations, open bomb site, free round, really.
Yeah, and I am actually surprised that they chose to stack A rather than stack B, to be honest. I feel like it's a lot more of a common feel to go B late round than A, especially early game. A kind of seems to be the site on this map which you go to if other things aren't necessarily working for you later on. At least how patterns have felt in other matches I've watched, but in this one, RUSHB gamble, and sadly, It's a gamble, which means they have to save again. Of course, it's not a bad thing necessarily. As you say, it's actually kind of nice to be able to have a full purchase and another one, even if they lose this next round as well, considering the cash they have left over from that save and keeping everything they have. But of course, it just lets Saw build up even more.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good and well saving guns, having money in the bank, but not having any points on the board. That's going to be a problem. So you're going to have to start to make something happen here on the CT side. And it does look like they're going to try and get aggressive. Kinky, there we go through the window. Going to be catching Saws. They look to try and get towards A main. No, no. It was looking really good there for RUSHB. I like the initiative coming through from them, but U-Jerks trades immediately and then goes one step further with a second kill.
I mentioned about how that A aggression can sometimes be something that a CT side can throw in, and now they've got that little bit of residual cash in the bank. They're going to try and take a risk to try and get this first round on the board finally. Unfortunately, while Kinky, the veteran of the team, may get his one, his young mate, half his age, Nota, only get one in return, but sort of peek one by one into that cave area. And that main play in Roman coming in late, couldn't get anything done. So it is actually going to work out long term. Picking one by one in cave, as I said there, has not worked out for Saw. And it leaves Story in a clutch. And he switched to the M4. They haven't heard him switch to that M4, I believe, in cave. So, or in canal, sorry. So as he creeps up to cave, we'll have to see what he can do with this.
I mean, he has got the bomb on his back, and he's had some time on his side as well. He's just hoping he can sow the seed of doubt with the longer that he takes, that they might start to consider that he's headed in towards A. But Texi, very passive on that side of the map. Kiro, what's the timing like? He's still there, misses a shot though. Story gets baited into the Yorpa, and Kiro doesn't need the supporting act of Executor to come through there. It is going to be the round that goes the way of RUSHB, as you say, just punishing a bit of the overzealousness there. I think Saw getting ahead of themselves, riding the momentum from the first 5 rounds that they've won. They do get punished though, and lose this next round. They start to trip up on their economy a bit as well.
Yeah, a little bit of a lack of synergy in those peaks. The one from main and then the players coming through canal. A very, very small lack of synergy. It was only about a second, but that second can make all the difference. Game of fractions. Quick tactical timeout used by RUSHB as well, and I like using it once you've won your first round. Pretty nice timing to just take a chill and say, okay, what did we do that was right?
Yeah, as for Saw, I mean, it probably serves as a good reminder just to slow things down. See, this is where they'll have the major in the back of their minds, Trav, where they're making sure that they build or continue to develop their protocols, their responses, their discipline. It's not like they can take the foot off the pedal here, because that's when you develop bad habits, right? So, yeah, I want to see Saw being clinical in this type of a match.
They are being clinical on Anubis and have been very clinical on Anubis as well. It's actually, you know, I mentioned that, of course, this is a strength of Saw. I still believe that. Of course, toward the end of last year, though, this is the map that RUSHB picked, I think, 3 times in ESE Advanced to help them qualify for ECL this season. They won all 3 of those recent games. And, of course, the last game that Saw played on it in the RMR was a 13-1 loss to 9 Pandas. So, you know, they are fallible. That's a nice double pick toward B main. That gives Executor no chance to even react with the one. Now, Nota needs to stay alive for as long as possible here. He does a fantastic job of staying alive, like I said, and getting one more. So it keeps it in a 3 versus 3 and makes it doable here for RUSHB on the retake as the bomb goes down.
I mean, yes, it is a situation you'd consider retaking, but looking at their money, you know, teams would often pull the plug in this sort of a situation. I want to see them go for it, though. They've got some utility. They've got a kit as well. All 3 players sort of can work together. 2 from CT, 1 coming through from Connector. Going to set themselves up the retake. Smoking towards B main. That's only going to isolate 1 player. Still 2 players on the side here for Saw. And they're going to step out off the back of the flash. I love the initiative coming through there from Saw. Not just sitting back idly waiting in the post plant, but forcing the issue. RUSHB running out of time. They have still got 2 kits between them. A smoke on the bomb as well. Sticking the defuse. It's not going to happen.
It did happen! Oh!
It does happen.
I can't believe it. I was totally on board with you there. I was like, okay, they've got a Glock from one angle and they've got a rifle from the other. There's no way this defuse comes through. I watched the little line at the top of the screen going lower and lower and lower, and I was like,
too.
Okay, It did. It did
And then
happen.
it just stopped. Well, I mean, the health line was also, the health bar was going lower and lower as well. And then it just stopped depleting all of a sudden, and the round was won. Alright, well, there we go. You were talking about rounds that RUSHB need to go their way, right? They need a reprieve every now and again, and they've just received one.
Wow. Didn't see that happening. So low, that one bullet was all that Saw needed, and they couldn't connect it. Insane. Of course, that's a round that RUSHB have won with nobody surviving, so that will impact their economy long term, and that's going to be a freebie for Story. Dropping down Canal early, taking Nota from B. That gives them an advantage to work with now to try and settle the ship slightly, which is weird to say considering it's 5-2 and they've been pretty dominant,
Yeah.
but after a round like that, you kind of need to.
I think the round before that as well, right, was a bit sporadic, so I think settling the ship is a good description as to what needs to happen here. For Saw, that smoke is going to fade and Kinky's going to become exposed. Muterus, is he going to be quicker on the trigger? Absolutely. Trade has to come through, and it does. Not as clean as Dodger would have liked, but he still does accomplish the desired task. The task he set out to achieve, should I say. Execute and Kiro, the two players left remaining, and they want nothing more to do with this round. So Saw do get themselves back to winning ways, Trav. And it feels like this was a really important round for them to win as well, just to maintain their dominant stance here in the game, right? Because if they lose this one 5-3, maybe an eco round for the T side at that point, 5-4, and all that hard work at the start of the map starts to slip away.
Oh, Kiro's in trouble now, though. Does he expect Story in T-spawn? Definitely not. Now Executor has to try and do his best to stay alive. Nice switch to the AWP behind him, but he's missed the close range shot. Good reaction to at least keep himself with this AWP. And now, although he's being hunted, oh, he could be hunted a bit too hard here. Needs to be ready for this. Nice shot on Dosh. Will you just put him down too? No. He'll just take that second AWP that was switched over. That's at least something.
You take that. 3 kills there, Trav. 3 exit frags.
Indeed.
That's done damage to Saw's economy. If RUSHB can win this round coming through here, I mean, they're going to invest everything, I reckon. This is high risk, high reward, right? You know you win this next round, you reset that T-side economy. They only get $1,400 if they lose. Do Saw. I think that's going to be enough for RUSHB to go for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's easiest position now for Saw because of that. It sounds weird again, 6-2, but we know that RUSHB are very well versed on this map from Advanced last season, and of course you know how T-sided this map can be. So if Saw give up even 3 or 4 rounds on CT, it's still incredibly durable for RUSHB.
What do you think the baseline is? Bare minimum. Did you say 4?
These days, I feel like 3 could even be done, especially with the pistol, because it could be 9-6. It could be 9-6 in a blink of an eye.
Like whether you're the underdog, I don't know, man. I think
yeah, I guess.
I think 4. You know, technically speaking, on paper, I can get on board with that. But in this particular game, RUSHB need at least, I don't think 6-6. Anything less is game over.
Fair enough. Yeah,
I mean, I know that they're going to the T side after this, which is a slightly more favorable side, but
yeah, I
don't think it's going to get any easier for them playing against Saw, no matter what half they're on.
Yeah, it is an uphill struggle, whatever side you're on, I would reckon. Texie's kind of lucky to stay alive in that early round little encounter there with Arazdotch, because he was on the line. Texie was looking to play aggressive off the back of that flash, but then he got flashed himself, so didn't peek any further. But there it goes. The Sweet Rice, and Kiro will take that one. Kinky will take Hugh Jerks. That's a lovely 5v3 for RUSHB to work with.
Yeah, everything falling into place for them. Roman is going to apply some pressure over towards the B side. Look at what that's done to the minimap. It's actually drawn quite a few rotations over towards B. Only one player hard committed to A, and Kinky's going to head back in that direction, but this is still certainly doable for Saw. If they trade even 2 for 1 here, that would still keep them in it, despite the fact they're down numerically. That bomb plant would certainly give them something to work with. Texie's going to get baited in here by Kinky, I reckon. Story on the AWP, though. Still falls off the ledge. He connects on the shot. This is where Texie has to do work. He's able to find 1 kill, but he will be traded out.
Yeah, a lot of damage done to Materis, though. Roman's holding for the rotations in mid, so Materis will be allowed to get the bomb planted with a very low time left on the clock, and that's a lovely shot. This gives him a glimmer of hope now. Materis' health might not matter if he plays super aggressively. Kira might not be expecting this, but he just switches around in time. Obviously, they were so focused on Roman. That's probably why Materis pushed up. But now it's a 1 versus 1. Executor has a defuse kit, and he's defusing behind the dice. I don't think he's going to be peaked, but he does get peaked just in time from Roman. That's a bit of just reward, I guess, from the mistake they made against the smoke defuse in that one of those previous rounds. Nicely played from Roman. Beautiful mid lurk.
Not a fan of sticking the defuse there, to be completely honest with you, Trav. I thought he was behind the dice as well, or behind the, the cylinder. That would have made a lot more sense.
The cake.
But he was just gambling. The cake, that's it. He was just gambling, right? He was just gambling that he could have his cake and eat it. But not today, says Roman.
Yeah, beautiful from Roman. And brilliantly consistent he's been as well in recent times, especially to Paramar that I mentioned. He's one of the long-term players still on Materis. He's 31 himself, mentioning Kinky's age, but Roman's 31, deserves to have his praises sung. Now, this is a faster mid-play for Saw. Some early round aggression. Kiro won't be blinded by that flash whatsoever. I believe he had burst fire on the FAMAS there. That was
sounded like it.
One of the only burst fire FAMAS kills I may have ever casted in my 5-year career. But he pushes up for more. He manages to take Ara's Dosh. Story's got his P250 out and can only get one. So super aggression from actually both teams there. Works out in RUSHB's 3rd round.
Well, there's that 3rd round you were speaking of. That was your baseline bare minimum. They've been able to check that one off the list, but you know what? Should be able to get 4 for free here, Trav. Look at the money over in the Saw camp. And they only get $1,900 if they lose this, or when they lose this, should I say. So the likes of Arazdoche, U-Jokes as well, they're not going to have much to work with going into the last round of the half.
Indeed. That's not a great
They want to spend their money, man. They want to go all in. They're gonna. It makes sense.
It does. It does. And this is what gives RUSHB a superb opportunity to maybe even make it 5. And it could have been very different, of course. If Saw had won that round against the smoke diffuse, it could have been 8-2 at this point, and we'd have been saying it's way more dominant. Their economy probably would have been a little bit better. But that's shoulda, coulda, woulda, and for an alternate universe.
Well, let's see what Saw are going to do here. Maybe just channel the namesake of their opponents, right?
Could do. With the weaponry they have, the Tech 9 and the Mac 10 leads to speedy, strafey plays.
And that speedy strafey play is going to be in towards mid right now. Utility to force Kinky backwards. He's happy to backpedal all the way in towards the back of mid. Utility continues to force him further backwards. You can see this is just a dry run from spawn from Saw right now. All the utility falling into place. The Molliet cameras keeps him at bay for not for much longer. Kinky though, good decision making from him. He's gotten into a strong position. The only problem here for RUSHB is if Saw decide to pivot through connector in towards B, and it looks like they might do exactly that.
Oh, Nota's in a really good position for this, and he mows down 3. That's a lovely hold. Massive off angle. I say off angle, it's actually quite a tight angle, but it's just one you never expect. And Kiro will then peek to help out against Story. Looks like RUSHB might be able to take this round all 5 alive. And you don't want to just be saving a deagle with $100 in your bank if you're Mr. Sweet Rice. You'll be looking to try and die and take the loss bonus for sure. But unfortunately, he's nowhere near the C4.
Yeah, this is just about maybe some highlight frags, something for the videographer to add to that reel at the end of the game. Saw are going to have to force buy again after this with only having gotten $1,900, and it's not going to look good. It's certainly going to look a lot worse than what it did in the previous round. 5-7 is the writing on the wall right now. RUSHB, they're keeping themselves in a trap. They're doing themselves justice right now, having picked Anubis coming into the series.
Absolutely. Mentioned, of course, the youngsters on the team too. Nota is one of them. Just 16. And he put himself in a veteran's position there. I mentioned he was one to keep an eye on, not just for the future, but for the present. And that was a hugely impactful round from him. And now he's put in a tougher position on B as the main defender. He's got Executor support, of course, but he's the one who's going to be peeking first. He does a lot of damage, but actually, Only gets that one kill, and Materis gets a lovely kill, and you jerks close range with the Tech 9.
No.
Unfortunately, he's out of bullets now, and he needs more, and he won't get any. Texi managed to deal with Story. It's madness in and around the smokes on B. And now as Dosh needs to try and do something. He almost catches Kinky, and now he digs up Texi as well. This is now a bit dangerous, but Kiro puts an end to it, and that will be where the half ends. 7-5 for Saw. We'll see you after a quick break. Pretty decent half in the end for RUSHB there, Hayes. I think they'll be delighted with 5.
Yeah, Trav, you're right. I mean, it's been a great turnaround. You consider the fact that they were staring down the barrel of 5-0 at one point, and they end up bringing it back to 7-5, winning 5 of the next 7. Can they kick off the second half with a pistol round win, though?
Let's see. Let us see. It's going to be Roman, number 12, of course, because those numbers are a little bit goofy. Now we've got coach slots able to be used in ECL. And he's trying to fight his way and tap his way through those smokes. Ujix has been forced away. Tries to play that headshot angle in the canal there, which is a lovely angle normally in a sort of a T default, but absolutely destroyed by Kiro and Executor. And look at this little setup here. Roman's still here, being the main point of defense earlier on. Now everyone is going to be fighting back and forth. Roman trying to tap away, but only 1 kill for him. Kinky gets 1 more, and the last as well. Damn, RUSHB are very much in this game. And arguably, in any normal game, I'd say, about Anubis, I'd say they'd be the favourites now. But they are still the name value underdogs. Let's see if they can pull it through.
Well, they certainly have the momentum behind them right now, winning 6 out of the past 8 rounds. As long as they can shut down RUSHB, then they're right as rain. The only other player who's putting up a bit of resistance is Roman, but RUSHB, they're getting the ball rolling right now. 1 round between these two teams, and it should be, well, the easiest of the lot that they've played so far coming into the 14th. It's USPs across the board.
Yeah, we saw RUSHB's strategy of sort of half buying twice in a row rather than doing one or the other, as in Force or Eco. So choosing the full Eco option to get the M4s in the third as soon as possible. And that can sometimes be a good strategy because often you are still up against Mac 10s and the like, but in this instance, Dink there could do some damage to Kinky. He did manage to take him down, so well done. Kiro will get all three of the last, I should say. But yeah, in this instance, there are no SMGs at all on RUSHB. It was only rifles. I believe 3 or 4 Galils in that previous round. So let's see what they do against this full purchase now. More utility purchased up by RUSHB. He's bought up the FAMAS to afford that. But it's not going to be easy. Let's see if RUSHB can go straight ahead and take the lead.
Yeah, for the first time on the map as well that they'd be getting their noses in front. So it's a really big opportunity here for the Russian team. Let's see if they can make it happen. What's the plan going to be? Nothing untoward at the start of the round. No AWP on the server either. Means you can take a bit more liberty, right?
Yeah.
There's a bit more room for error, I would say, without an AWP to punish you for your overstep or your overpeak. And Kinky, well, he's looking for a fight right now, and he's going to find exactly that, Trav. He might find more than he can chew. No. Just snaps the head straight off of RUSHB. That was the full belt of utility that he's just removed as well. I don't know how many pieces he still had to his name, but he was certainly holding a grenade.
That actually makes such a huge difference as well, because he was the man tasked with the jiggle. Thankfully for Saw and for Story, he peeks Kinky while he's preparing his utility and gets a free kill back in response. But Ujux isn't aware of a second player in Canal. However, there's a long-range peek. Story, how on earth have you not taken Kiro there? The trades are going back and forth, and somehow it's a 2v2 from all that. Nota peeks from the mid-balcony window. And Texi is trying to fall away as quickly as possible because the A-bomb site's open. And they're kind of betwixt in between right now. Ujux is splitting them all up. Let's see what he can do with this.
Man.
Oh, nice
great crosshair placement there. Yeah, really good kill coming through from him. It's left up to Roman in the 1 versus 2. He does not have a kit either. No further utility. I mean, next to no chance, really. It's going to be so tough for him to root out both of these kills and find enough time for the defuse. I mean, they'll really have to cock this one up. All RUSHB. Roman has baited out both of the peaks, but he's only going to be able to get the 1 kill. And with that, RUSHB, they've got themselves the lead, and they've set Saw on the back foot economically.
Now then, there was a part of me before this game got underway when we were asked for our predictions. I wanted to pick RUSHB. I really did. I really had a feeling that online Counter-Strike, a little bit of a hangover from the RMR for Saw, all the celebrations. Are they going to be fully into this game? I'm not saying that I thought RUSHB were going to win the entire series yet, but at least for map 1, I had a little feeling. And they're nowhere near there yet, but they're probably going to get a 9-7 lead unless something crazy happens. So, good work from RUSHB. And it was all down to that U-Jerks kill. Whether he got that frag coming in from camera or not, he didn't. We could have at least a map 1 upset on our hands.
I mean, I'm all for it. Then we go to Vertigo with RUSHB leading the series and Saw having to level things up to take us to a decider, which would of course be Nuke. Great map for Saw, that's for sure. Their best on paper. So I guess they have that in his insurance policy.
Yeah, and of course I mentioned in the pre-game as well that in Saw's last 7 matches against Russian teams, they've lost 6 of them. So maybe it's a stylistic thing that they struggle with. Who knows? I'm not sure if there are any styles that are shared necessarily with RUSHB and the likes of 9 Pandas, for example. But still, it's a slightly strange pattern for Saw.
Yeah, see if they can figure out a way to get this game back on track. They've lost, what, 8 out of 10 rounds. Not a good look since their strong 5-0 start. have got some upgraded pistols, so RUSHB do need to tread lightly, but they will find the kills to just seal the deal. First couple excursions or gunfights breaking out, pretty much all going RUSHB's way. Notes has been good. Notes has been really impressive. I mean, Kiro's certainly the pick of the bunch, but Notes impressed me a lot as well. First time getting a look at him, and I like what I see.
Yeah, Kira, of course. I mean, he's only 21 himself. It is a very young team apart from Kinky. Kira, of course, the AWPer. Executor, 19. The other two, both 16 years of age. With Kinky, of course, the experienced ex-Dream Eaters, Hard Legion, IGL. Long time since those names were in CS. But he's been around for a long time himself. Terrifying to think that these 16-year-olds are probably born in like 2007 or 2008 or something. Goodness me.
Can't be. Not possible, Brad.
No, because clearly anyone
born after 2000 just doesn't count, to be honest with you.
Exactly. If you were, you know, if you're 20 and you're born after it's just wrong. Can't be allowed.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the talk of the town, Mr. Donk, 17 years old now, taking the scene by storm. Have you heard of him, Trav?
Did you say Dink or
Donk? No, this
Donk?
guy Donk, he plays for Spirit, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
You should check him out. Yeah, I think he might be like a good player or something.
Might have seen him on a video one time. I don't know.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. Was he the one who was yelling a bit?
Just a tad. Might have been Cadian, I don't know. Either way. 9-7. Must win round for Saw. Must win. Lose this. Double digits for their opponents. Another eco round for the Portuguese squad. At that point, it's 11-7. And they're 2 rounds away from losing the map. Things have gotten out of control here.
We'll stop trolling because this is a genuinely important round. This game's got kind of out of control for Saw. It was, am I not mistaken in saying, was 7-2? It was, right?
It was 5-0. Not
Definitely
sure about
was 5-0, yeah.
Yeah.
So this has completely gotten out of their control. Similar setup outside A.
You're correct.
Nice. My brain is not... I'm not losing any of my faculties yet. Good to know.
On point. Hopefully Saw going to be on points as well. What's the play going to be from RUSHB? Looks like a bit of a diversion over towards A. They will get the attention of a couple players, but the main hit's going to come through on the opposite side of the map, but Saw still standing tall.
Yeah, good start from U-Jerks and Story. Two of the most important faces for this team. Executor, okay, this might be a freebie. You can now at least relay the information over, and he will definitely get this kill because you can make your way down those stairs silently. He's looking for a second player before he goes for that first aggressor in RUSHB. But of course, are they going to... Yes, that's perfectly done. Unfortunately, U-Jerks is still peeking. There is still a glimmer of hope. Is there? No, there's not. There's 5 seconds on the clock. They couldn't get to the site with the bomb quick enough. So Saw are actually going to take this round.
Yeah, I mean, it looked pretty clean in the beginning, able to find that opening pick through Story, and then U-Jerks gets a frag as well. Gets a bit sketchy at one point, but as you say, RUSHB just don't have enough time to really build on the kills that came through. So at least Saw draw back within 1. Still a lot of work to do here. Win this round, then they break that T-side economy, but RUSHB is still looking pretty comfortable as things stand coming into this next round.
Yeah, it's a good stabilizer for Saw, but the money is still not in the perfect spot yet. U-Jerks will put that smoke down. Haven't seen any of those HEs that break open those smokes on a timing yet for an AWPer-like Story. I've seen him be quite successful with peaks like that in the past, and every AWPer really in the scene going for those nade breakages. The Story's been relatively quiet in this game. A couple of his kills have been very impactful, but KD not as much just yet. Slower approach from RUSHB in this one.
Yeah. Does look like eventually they're going to group themselves up and split in towards A. A couple players have been able to get up towards the double doors in middle, and then A main going to be the next points of contact. Texi does want to keep them interested on the opposite side of the map. The problem for him, though, is Roman's already been able to push through B main. So Saw kind of telegraphing the round here. They have a decent idea of what's going on. 3 players focusing in towards mid for the CT side story. He's lucky to be alive, and RUSHB capitalizes on the info. Good trade as well. Has taken the heat off of A for a brief moment, though, and that's exactly what RUSHB are looking to capitalize on. The Executor, unfortunately, going to be the one to lose his life. Story arrives on the scene just in time, and Saw will mop up.
That's actually really important for Saw there. Mateus has had a pretty quiet game. He's one of those IGLs that maybe you don't expect him to frag, but he very often does. And he very often does step up with some big rounds too. And this was a big one as well. That trade in mid was very nicely done. And now Kiro is trying his best to save his AWP as well. Because if he goes down here, there will be no AWP available in this following round. I'm not even sure there'll be much of a buy in this following round. Because they're going to have 2 players with not much at all. I guess Executor and Executor can buy an AK, Texi can buy a Galil alongside Nota, Kinky can just sacrifice himself and play Tech 9, and they still have the AWP in play, so that's something they could go for.
Yeah, see what the option employed is going to be here for RUSHB. It does look like Nosa's already spent his cash, so I think they've just had one last look at their cards on the felt there, and they're pushing their chips into the middle of the table, Trav. Because you lose this, 10-9, then you have to eco, becomes 11-9. Surely you back Saw to finish off the job from there, right?
You would think. And they have gone for that Galil on Nota. What else are they going to be buying up? Ah, of course. You can sell these days. Keeping it a ruse.
Just baiting us. Just, yeah. Keeping us guessing. It's fair enough. Having fun with it. Do you remember there used to be times when somebody would miss buy and then we would just reset the round?
True, that had been done a few times.
Good few years ago.
Yeah.
People would blame the auto buy bug. You know, you'd auto buy, let's say, armor in your main rifle, and then it would give you a FAMAS instead, and then you would use as like grounds for a reset. But I'm sure a couple times that was abused. Someone just misbought, you know, got bought ahead of the pack, and then...
I know, yeah. It's like, my brother, please just unbind auto buy. It's not difficult.
Alright, well, Kiro, the only player with a notable gun here in the round for RUSHB, did have an opportunity to find an opening kill. A second chance gifted to him. Neither of them capitalized upon, though. Oh, Muterus is in trouble, I think, Trav.
Oh, that's a brilliant timing peek from RUSHB. He'll get all 3 there.
That's who it was. Right. Got bamboozled by the minimap. Either way, he was in no trouble at all. It was RUSHB who were in trouble. Call an ambulance, and not for RUSHB.
Nice tag, at least with a picked up AWP there on Nota, but Saw know what's up now. And yeah, the minimap can be a little bit confusing sometimes, of course, with the numbers 11 and 12. Do you have a number 11 or 12 key on your keyboard? I don't think so. Bomb will go down, though. And that's actually not too bad for RUSHB to get the bomb planted on a round such as this. Nota, the youngster, has a glimmer of hope in this one, but when I say a glimmer... it was literally a pixel of a glimmer because Roman was flanking him anyway, and the bomb will be defused with 3 players alive. So Saw will retake the lead. They've switched on after losing that 7-2 advantage, but of course the buy for RUSHB will be good now.
Yeah, really good work coming through from Saw in these past few rounds here to regain the lead. Thankfully for RUSHB, their round loss bonus coupled with that bomb plant is going to be enough to get everything they need here. Obviously, they did eco in the previous, but now they've got all the bells, all the whistles, every piece of utility. I guess just lacking the AWP is the one sort of notable piece there, as Kiro's had to settle for a Galil. Is that going to be problematic here, Trav?
Galil is probably one of the best guns in CS right now, to be honest, for the price. So, it won't be the end of the world, but, you know, if you dink someone, then that's going to be frustrating. Not get the kill. And there's that canal aggression that I've mentioned to you in the past, of course. This time it was actually through the B site rather than the edge of the A site. And Mateus will take Kiro. That's another big frag to remove one early doors. Texi's very, very blind. I think U-Jerks actually was as well. But gets away with the kill, and Jerks will be happy with that.
Yeah.
Relaxing 5v3 now.
Only because of a very stressful start of the round. I mean,
exactly.
Saw showing signs of making a lot of moves at the start of the round, looking to just unsettle RUSHB, right? Not giving them any chance to set up 5v3 off the bat now in such an important round for RUSHB as well. Could have picked up the pieces that are scattered everywhere and try and come up with something.
Story just needs to be careful he doesn't get caught off for free. It's these sort of rounds that can get out of hand. I think Anubis, with it being a T-sided map, probably the most T-sided in the pool, it does often make you feel like sometimes, even in these disadvantageous situations, there is a chance, but the walkthrough mode and there's no chance on this occasion. You have to be locked in mentally in every single given situation on CT Anubis, and Mutiris, Story and Jerks certainly were on this round. Executor looking to try and save, because if he saves, he's got a full belt of util as well. With that $950 in the bank, he can buy up a molly to have everything. But he will get caught in the side by Mutiris, so that is completely void, and he has nothing. Unfortunate timing on the switch away. And the only silver lining, which is a thin one, is that he didn't get taken down after time.
Yeah, your fantasy gone at the click of a button there, Trav. The end of his world, at least in that round. 9-11 now, as RUSHB are going to have to settle for a half-buy and play for overtime. Man, it's been a tale of two halves here, right? Saw start off really nicely, then RUSHB coming all the way back, leading, was it, I want to say 9-7. It was indeed 9-7 at one point for RUSHB, but Saw have since then come back with 4 in a row. And they are now in pole position, Trav. That's everybody's favorite position.
Indeed. It's been hard to tell which team actually has been in pole position in this game, because from 7-2 to 9-7 and now back to 11-9, it's been a streaky one.
Yeah. Hopefully a reflection of what to expect in the next F1 season. Hard to tell who's going to be in pole, because that would shake things up a bit.
It would, wouldn't it? I was about to say, talking of streaky ones, there's a certain man on a long streak right now, which is a bit frustrating.
True. Nothing streaky about his campaign lately.
Right, pistols and one Galil in toward the A site. Perfect counter utility at the right time as well for Mutiris. It's actually the fire that takes down Kinky in the end, and he doesn't need to peek any further. Just hold an off angle, wait for your teammates. Actually, it is RUSHB to take that frag. We've been bamboozled again between those two.
Yeah.
But Story,
you nailed it though, mate. With the counter utility here from Saw that just completely, you know, maintained full control for them as RUSHB were looking to try and get things going over on that A bomb site. Mollies and flashes rolled in. Then Saw were able to take up positions on the bomb site, and all the utility the T side had just thrown was completely null and void.
Yeah, it's been relaxed now for Saw. I mentioned, of course, that being so T-sided this map sometimes, a team that if you are well versed on it, you can just basically abuse the map and get unlikely victories if you have a slight lead, even if you are the significant underdog. But Saw, great on both sides. Apart from that little blip of that 13-1 in the RMR against 9 Pandas, they won about 6 in a row, I think. So, it's, as I said, always like to adopt the new maps, do Saw. This is no exception. And they're just one away from taking map 1. Map 2, of course, is Vertigo, and that is Saw's pick. So this might be a must pull back to overtime for RUSHB.
Yeah, can they make it happen? 3 rounds in a row is what's required of them. You had to get this across the line into OT, and then from there try and seal their map pick. Remember, this is RUSHB's pick. From here we go to Saw. Their pick of Vertigo. Kinky is going to be able to get ahead of the Incendiary. Yeah, Ujix was protecting that. A nice bit of initiative coming through right now. Fearless counter-strike out of Kinky again, taking another gunfight from the Flames. Oh man, they're making moves right down to the B side, but Roman looking to stop them cold in their tracks. He's found 2 kills, eventually cut down, but it's a 3 versus 3.
Yeah, there's a big miss from Story. Thankfully, he had Roman in support, and he gets 2 to recover the situation. Now, what do you do here if you're RUSHB? You've got 35 seconds for a plant. The bomb is still outside B, but you are shifting back toward A. What is the clock going to feel like once you eventually get to the opposite site? Got RUSHB in that position. Once again, waiting to see what he can do. Main port of defense on this A site. And it's like when they're going to be going through mid to this A site, so it might mean it's a little bit more difficult for RUSHB. Is he aware of that possibility? And that might be all he needs to do.
Wow.
Great kill on Nota. Falls back as well. Doesn't deny the plant, but it gives him a good chance in this 3 versus 2 now.
Yeah, lovely little play coming through from him to force the frag and then play the safe game there afterwards. Not undo all the hard work from getting that kill. But speaking about hard work, Hero's been heavy lifting throughout the map so far. Won't be doing any lifting further in this round. He gets shut down. It's on Executor 1 versus 2 in the post plant. Has to find both these kills to keep his team alive. They now know exactly where he is as they close the gap. They won't be able to get the kills. Executor stands tall and RUSHB keep themselves alive.
Wow, that was a really nicely played clutch by Executor, to be honest. As you say, I thought Story's frag on Kiro, the AWP v AWP battle, Story just outreacting Kiro there would have been enough, but Executor repositions beautifully. They still think he's behind the pillar briefly, steps a few feet to the left. Story had to go for the sidearm, which made that kill a little bit easier for Executor. 2 quick fire headshots. It keeps them alive in this map. And we get into an interesting situation now where if RUSHB somehow make this round work, what's Saw's money going to be like for round 24?
Yeah, this is for overtime. This round right here, you win this, then you pretty much seal OT at that point. Should be a formality in the round afterwards. Not like they've got everything they could have hoped for though, Trav. Still 2 Galils and a Mac 10 in the mix as well to try and get by in this next round.
Let's see. Pinky won't be too upset to be on the Mac 10. He's happy to sacrifice himself on lower weaponry for a better cause. Sword can just relax in this moment of the round at least. They know that RUSHB have been quite slow on their T-side approaches. Bomb recovered, and once again, the sweet rice is going to have to be to continue to be tasty from the back of A.
Yeah. Another split in towards A on the cards here for RUSHB. They've done a good job of that so far, and they've shown really good sets of utility to execute into that A bomb site as well. Right now, Saw have the lion's share of their players over towards B. Looks like they're starting to get an inclination as to what's going on here. Kinky gets burnt out. That's a really good opening kill, and that's going to prompt the execute now in towards A. RUSHB has got some support from Story, rather, who's going to look to try and take the bait away from his teammates on the site itself, and there we go. They thrive on the defense, getting all the kills, and Saw get across the line to win the map.
That was a beautiful hold to end it off. It got a bit squeaky for Saw when they were in the lead 7-2. You thought for a second, surely this is going to be easy and RUSHB will have no sort of fallback or defense whatsoever. But they pulled it back to a 9-7 lead, and we thought, okay, hang on a second, we could have an upset on our hands. But Saw stepped up their game, put the foot on the pedal, and pushed forward to that finish line on that CT side. And they did a very good job of it on that last round as well. That was very, very clear.
Yeah. I guess the happiest out of everybody right now, Trav, is you, that you didn't put your hat on RUSHB going into Anubis, right? Because you said you wanted to do that, and thankfully you didn't, because, well, Saw got across the line in the end.
Indeed, yes, and it was a deserved result for sure. The slow was get that around the right way. The start was too slow for RUSHB, and yeah. I think that is a problem for them. Maybe they'll look back at that decision they made on the first half to half buy twice after the pistol. Maybe they take Saw's, leaf out of Saw's book and say you go for 1 full eco and then the rifles instead. Yeah, I think that seemed to maybe waste an extra round for them that wasn't necessary. But in the end, that wouldn't have made much of a difference either way. I believe we have an MVP graphic to come very soon as well for the best player from that map. I would hazard a guess that it could be RUSHB, but we'll see.
I would say Hero, honestly.
You gonna go Kiro?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
fair
Hero.
enough.
I mean, I know that they lost the map 13-10, but Kiro was certainly, I reckon, the best player of that map.
Yeah, we'll get it in a few minutes up for you. But yeah, I think, as you say, there are some good shining lights for RUSHB. I'm quite... I wouldn't say necessarily they should be happy with this, but I think a showing against a team that has only just made the major is pretty impressive. And there we go. You've got the ADR for RUSHB. Look at that. 105 ADR with 21 kills. Raphael steps up beautifully, and he was one of the main factors, especially early game for Saw.
Yeah, exactly that, right? was 8 for 1. He did a really good job from the start of the game, managed to carry his form through. I mean, there was a bit of a dip in the middle, which coincided with RUSHB's comeback, I think. But then once Arisdoche had it nailed, well, RUSHB were as well. We are going to throw this one to a break, though, guys, while we wait for that next map, everybody to get ready. Once they've joined the server, we've got everyone on the, everybody ready to go. We will be as well. It's Vertigo up next. RUSHB have to win Vertigo to keep themselves in contention for the series. We'll wait and see if they can make it happen.
We're back for some more Saw RUSHB, and RUSHB will hope they'll be back as well, because that was actually a pretty decent attempt from them on map 1. We thought Saw were going to walk it. They were 7-2 up. It looked all comfortable and beautiful, but then they pulled it back to 9-7. So honestly, pretty impressive for them to get so close, but in the end, Saw's quality pulled through.
I know, that's just the worst part about it though, is that we actually had a game in our hands, right? At 5-0, it was always looking like Saw were going to be the ones to go on to win the map, and then we had a game in our hands all of a sudden, but unfortunately, RUSHB couldn't. They just ran out of gas, Trav. They ran out of gas at the worst possible moment. They tried to push the car across the line at the end. They won that one extra round, but unfortunately, it was in vain.
It was in vain. And here's the current scores around the grounds, as they say, as well. We've got, of course, our mainstream running with Para versus System 5.
Or?
That's actually, I don't know, I think that's kind of like tennis and football, I think.
Just trying to think like where you could be playing multiple matches with like multiple fields. Yeah, football makes sense as well.
Tennis and football. No doubt tennis and football. You're almost spot on with that. But yeah, ex-Ikla, now known, of course, as System 5 with the Lekro, Mihu, Adex, Kvem team. Yeah, they managed to take the first map against Para, so that's a good start from them. I believe that was 13-9, so a good start to their season as well. And as we said before we got underway in this group, Group A really feels like it's up for grabs as to who those two slots will go for. So looking forward to seeing if they can compound that and clean it up to 0. But we're going to see the same here, because Vertigo, of course, is coming up for Saw and RUSHB. Another good map for Saw. It's not looking any easier for the Russians.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know that Vertigo has been slotted for Saw for a long time. They've only played it 4 times in the past 3 maps, but it's always been in their iterations of Saw as well, so you just know Muterus has got it waxed. So it is going to be tough for RUSHB, Trav. Hopefully we can see more of what we saw sort of in the middle passage of Anubis coming into Vertigo throughout the whole map for RUSHB.
What I've got to say about System 5 is I don't believe they can actually use that ex-Ikla roster yet. Either that, or they're just not available, or they're not playing with them anymore. Because it is a completely different System 5 roster. I was talking about the roster that was shown on HLTV before the match. I thought they were playing with those. They're playing with Keen, Python, Cree, Patrick, and Chill. So it's literally a completely different 5. Just wanted to correct myself on that one, because that caught me off guard as well.
I'm surprised, but hey, I mean, they brought it together. Some recognizable names there. Not anybody who's really taking the scene by storm, but either way, we are going to be taking this map and this match by storm as we head into Vertigo, the second map of the series. It is the pick of Saw, and they're going to be looking to inflict pain.
Yeah, let's see if they can close this one out 2-0. I guess it's kind of more of a surprising result for Para System 5, to be honest. The fact that Para lost that first map, considering that's a bit of a new composition on that System 5 roster. We shall see, though. Yeah, we shall see how that will be finished up. And let's see how this one finishes up. Look at the belt of utility that Jerks and Story have in this T-pistol. That is a hell of a lot. Already Nota has been met with a bullet to the brain.
Yeah, brought down to just 2 points of health. The least amount you need for it to be plural, Trav. 2.
Indeed.
Multiple points of health. And they've stacked up here. RUSHB have really invested everything of the defense on towards the safe bump side. How long do they sit here? You can see that they're not so comfortable staying with the stack. That's why they're now trying to play for some information. But they still look so unsettled. It's still so chaotic from the defense. And maybe that's what happens when you have too many players. It's just nobody knows where to position themselves. There's no room.
Yeah, that's a beautiful line at the top of the default boxes too, using that smoke to his advantage. That's the second kill for Saw. Texi's trying to tap away on this big flank, but whether this does anything, I get the impression, is unlikely. He'll fall away and try and save. Saw going for the double pump toward A. Kiro just looking for some bonus cash with his pistol, but unceremoniously removed by Roman. Said there was a lot of utility. It was actually something that caught off RUSHB as well.
Yeah,
first nades come flying in.
I do like, though, that Saw didn't just commit off the bat, right? They showed presence through the util, but then they paused, and that kind of sowed the seed of doubt slightly. RUSHB had committed so many players to the rotation, they weren't comfortable to just sit stacked on the bomb side. It felt like they needed some info. They were compelled to push there, and that's where they started losing a lot of players, and things became quite chaotic. So good composure out of Saw, who are now going to have to deal with yet another half buy. This is clearly their modus operandi, Trav. This is their way. It's not just a map-dependent thing, as we saw them do it on Anubis as well. They're doing it here on Vertigo too.
Yeah, we'll see. They keep that 1750 on their AWP Kiro, and about 800 on the rest. Little boost for the MP9. Actually, does some good damage, but of course now it's been spotted out. Unfortunately, Roman shows the tip of his bonds to Kinky, and Kinky won't be saying no to that. So that's an opening kill for the CT side.
Yeah, this is quite scary actually. I see why RUSHB go for this. It gives them quite a lot to work with in the round with these upgraded pistols. Not much armor. Players do have Kevlar.
Oh.
Good damage on the wall bang. Gonna tickle a couple of players. Still a man advantage in play for the CT side, and they're making moves right now. 3 players in towards Skinny. Arrows Dodge has no idea. He catches the glimpse of an elbow. He doesn't know that Note is actually crossed already, and it's going to be kills that continue to go back and forth. Ujerks doesn't have much health. Both players corralled, cooped up in the corner. How does Ujerk salvage this, if at all?
Impossible. They're going for a double swing, but no bullets left. Oh, if he had more than 2 or 3 in the Mac 10, I think actually he probably takes Texi as well. But
Yeah,
a nice
I
double
agree.
swing.
You could see he was hesitant to continue spraying because he knew he was running out of
Yeah.
ammo. So I completely agree with you. If he had a full mag there, he just continues to hold down mouse button 1, probably gets both the kills.
Yeah, nice recovery from RUSHB. That half buy in the second round pays off this time. And so, a team, of course, we'll be seeing in Copenhagen for the first ever CS2 Major. We hit back down to a double D and a double tech with the hero AK on story. It's Jerks who has kind of sacrificed himself to have no armor to get that AK alive. I think Kinky may have spotted one there. As the Deagle bullet whizzes past the sandbags. A charge up, and actually Kinky's very much in the open here. Thankfully there is flash support and support from Noto on sandbags too. So this shouldn't be too difficult. Now there are 3 players looking to try and fight their way through. Story's AK will take Nota. Somehow he's going to try and tap down 3, and that swing from Kiro's MP9 is going to be very unexpected. Executor finds it, gets a nice little cheeky upgrade as well. That's the only problem if you go for a hero AK. If you lose a round, you probably give it over to the CT side. And Saw will have to full eco.
Great chance here for RUSHB to build themselves a bit of a lead. That half buy is still sort of lingering in my mind right now. I actually kind of like the way that they play it, right? It's not like they just half invest in that second round and then sit by idly. They get in the faces of their opponents, they unsettle, and they don't give them any room to set up and be comfortable. Constantly asking questions, just making an absolute nuisance of themselves. And, well, it worked out. You know, you're not sort of speculating and trying to figure out the logic behind it on the previous match, but they've just shown us there how it's designed to work.
MP9's going aggressive, looking to try and get some cash. Nota. He wants to go in for more. Unfortunately, there are more than just the one on the other side. Needs to be wary of that, and actually, that could not have been better for him. They all peeked each angle he checked on perfect timing, and the third player runs into the spray. He'll get taken down, but he's done his money farming for the round. And now he can get his M4A4 out instead. So, first full go round of the game is coming in for them.
Yeah, they should have been in a far more comfortable position coming into this first gun round, considering the fact that they won the pistol, but that is not the case. Down 3-1, a chance here for RUSHB to continue to add pressure onto the team who have picked the map, and it looks like they're going to try and assert some dominance towards ramp early on. Aristotle, speaking about asserting dominance, will find the opening frag. Had a strong start in the previous map. He's flexing his muscles early on here on Vertigo as well. Taking a lot of damage, but he will get out with his life intact.
He's great at that. Those opening picks in these rounds, saw so much of it in the RMR, of course. Materis in mid. I think in every edition I've seen of the Saw roster, Materis has always been that mid lurker. It's a constant across all the players he's played with over the years. Once this map was introduced. Well, they make their way up toward A. Minute to go, so more than enough time. Nades blowing around the shrapnel on the map, and that's going to be a good counter incendiary toward Jerks. There's going to be a boost up on the white box, and that's a lovely one for Nota. He gets his kill, the spray over the top of that smoke. Unfortunately, though, Kinky will go down, and that puts it back into a 3v4. And utility, actually, counter utility here for the CT side is pretty good. They've already forced Roman off the plant once. Thankfully, the clock isn't an issue just yet, but every single CT defender is here for RUSHB.
Oh man, the bomb's gotten across. Texi has no idea there's a player behind him, but the smoke will give him the cover. He needs to find 2 frags and get out with his life intact. Muterus is desperately trying to trade, but he won't. What on earth is that round from Texi? 4 frags coming through from his rifle in such quick succession as well. Robs saw blind.
That was beautiful from Texi. And as you say, I mean, the only... What's interesting about that is that the main thing that delays Saw from getting that plant down early and getting set up in decent after-plant positions is just that one incendiary. It forces Roman back away. They play it a bit slower. And that allows, with that smoke still up, RUSHB to play a little bit more aggressive. Texi gets to the corner of the default box there, gets his 1 on the attempted plant, and then jumps up on the headshot angle to take the gap player too. Like, that was really well thought out. He even gets the next 2 as well.
Use the smoke to perfection, right? Because if there had been 2 or 3 seconds less life on that smoke, then he gets exposed to Muterus and he isn't able to go on that tear. So just a really good understanding of the situation there and how to go about navigating it. Maximize that position, really. And now Saw are going to have to half-buy. 4th round in a row that they've lost. RUSHB have got all the momentum behind them.
It's these sort of rounds that Saw can be so dangerous on there, of course, with these Tech 9s and Mac 10s. I've seen many a quick B execute on Vertigo that has broken the backs of a CT side with these annoying fast buys, and actually that is what they're doing this time. They forced Texi all the way back into CT, but the fact he's played so defensively catches Jerks off guard and gets a freebie. They, of course, by doing that, allow Saw the plant for a little bit of a cash injection, and now double gen and a double swing. Surely this can't do much. Nota finds 1 more. It's dancing back and forth. It's a nice swing shot from Roman, but Story is left probably with literally no hope. And yes, he's in the smoke with a Glock, so that is definitely the answer to that. Kinky taps him down. 5-1.
Certainly was a matter of time there before he was going to get found out in the smoke. 5-1 indeed, Trav. I mean, Saw get the bomb plant there, so that in itself is a victory, because now what that means is if they lose this round, even without getting a bomb plant, they still have a buy in the next. You can see that extra sort of $500 to $800 cash in each player's bank account. But Saw have only won the pistol. That's the only round they've been able to win so far in Vertigo. Coming into this gun round, Trav, feels really important for them to get across the line.
Yeah, no handle on this game yet. I do like Saw's CT Vertigo quite a lot, so I wouldn't be panicking if you're a Portuguese fan just yet. But they do need to get a handle hold on this side now. Nota will use quite a lot of his utility to try and nade out that left cubby. Oh, Kiro just a little bit quick on the trigger. Maybe gets a cheeky opener there through the gap in that smoke. Not this time, though.
Yeah, Story going to make sure he uses his flashes to clear out any potential players now that they have the info. The York is towards this part of the map. Molly going to be giving up the click there. They know there has to be someone behind sandbags, and they will do half of the damage to Note. But look at the aggression from Kinky, really trying to force the issue there. And it wasn't the worst play. They knew that Saw were heavily focused on the sandbags positions. That's what he tried to capitalize on, was catching them off guard. And speaking about catching them off guard, RUSHB finds a really good timing on the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, that could be enough finally to get off the mark. RUSHB, good economy, but there's no reason to throw it away when you're so far away, especially in a 3v5. If it was a 3v3 with this economy, they would definitely go for it, but you know the plan here. Sadly, it's always frustrating when you're in this position, probably, as a CT side. You've built up your own bank, and you've been keeping your opponent's bank low for so long, and then finally they get a chance to win a round, And sadly, they're going to win it with all 5 players alive for RUSHB's sake, which just bolsters their own bank so much quicker. So it's frustrating they can't get any exits. But of course, Saw won't be hunting because they need to do exactly what I just said. So they'll keep all 5 up. But Texi, as we see, quintuple digits in the bank. More than enough to repurchase alongside Kinky. So no worries. Saw have to do it all over again.
Right, well, that is going to be giving them a bit more of a boost of confidence. You could see that was a really well-worked round coming through from them just in terms of the way that they go about their business. They showed some really good form on the T side of this map against Fnatic and the other team. I can't remember who they played against at the RMR.
Enterprise and NIP, the other two.
NIP? I don't know if they played against NIP on Vertigo. I don't think that they did. I know they played Fnatic, just looking back now. Doesn't look like they played NIP.
Yeah, the Enterprise game was...
5-7-half against...
It was Vertigo, the Enterprise game. Yeah, okay. Second map.
At a 5-7-half against Fnatic, though, 7 rounds on their T side, doesn't look like they're going to be able to replicate that here against RUSHB. As they're on the brink of going down 6-2. RUSHB going to do some good work to find a kill back, but he has to do a lot more than that, Trav.
That was actually a really nice pathing that RUSHB took there. Up the corner of the stairs and catches the headshot angle. That's what must be frustrating for Texi, because I'm sure he thought he was pretty safe in that situation, but I don't think Saw feels safe. They're in a 2 versus 4. Materis and RUSHB will try now work this together. And the worst part of it for them is that they don't have any smokes to cross. Thankfully, in this instance, they get some intel and see that they were just playing a retake position behind the gen to watch the gap on the cross to see when Saw make their way in. Materis is convinced, absolutely convinced there could be a close fight somewhere else. But eventually he will have to get that plant down, and he does now. Beautiful hold from RUSHB though. He's going to get himself 3 from this. Oh, he's on for the ace here. This is ridiculous stuff. In this 2 versus 4, he might be able to kill all 5 of them. Materis has been tagged up too, so it's a little bit dangerous, of course. Kiro, though, AWP on the retake. The Tech 9 might be enough for both of these two. But he might just fall away, and wow, what a round from Mr. Sweet Rice.
I can't believe how RUSHB was able to hold the line there, up close to the generator. I mean, Muterus was so spooked, right? Just faking the plant time and time again, trying to bait the players out and hope that he was able to find a kill or 2 before he could commit to the plant. Wasn't afforded that luxury. In fact, it really worked against them. Because of how much he was faking, it bought so much time for RUSHB to rotate across towards that side of the map. Didn't matter though. RUSHB just in the front lines, able to hold it down. 3 clean headshots coming through from him, and well, Kiro with his tail between his legs says, I want nothing to do with that.
Yeah, and little did he know that if he charged in full running speed with the Tech 9, there's a good chance that maybe he actually has a shot at killing both in quick succession. They're both a couple of taps away. But yeah, fantastic round for Saw to recover. Does that break a tiny bit of the RUSHB spirit. It's one they know they should never be losing.
Alright, well, is that going to be where the tide starts to turn? Saw have won 2 rounds in a row now, win this next one, and they break that CT side economy, level up the scoreline off the back of it. That's a big opportunity now. Can they seize the moment?
Slow start to round 9 for Saw. Realising that perhaps B is feeling a little bit weak right now for RUSHB. Ironically.
Well, I suppose it's got to be the strong side for them on the T side, right? Raining in right now, and we see U-Jokes raining in death and devastation. RUSHB continues to do damage over on the side of the map as well. It's a man advantage for the T side as the bomb plant comes through as well.
That Molotov will force RUSHB back away towards the back of the site, but 3 versus 2, and now Story has the line with the AWP. He gets dinked, I believe, for his troubles there, but still gets the kill. And once again, I think that's going to force Kiro away. Pretty basic one from Saw there, just a bit of early B stairs control. push up as a group. Materis once again mid-lurk, like I said. Getting that 1 kill was more than enough for Materis. Basically relaxes the situation completely for Saw in a 3v2 rather than what would have been the other way round. No upgrade for Kiro available. I tell a lie. There was actually an AWP on the floor right next to him. So, didn't see that on the switch. So they're going to have another full purchase available with Kiro's AWP.
Well, at least they can continue to churn out these buys, right? But hasn't been a problem about whether they've had weaponry or not. Been a problem in trying to get across the line. Does look like Saw are going to go back to their old faithful. They did try and start off the half with bullying this B bomb side. It didn't work too well for them though, Trav. Losing most of the rounds. It was only the pistol round they were able to win on the side of the map, but they've had a lot of success over towards B, so now they're coming back towards A.
Yeah.
See if they can make it work.
Yeah, B has been a success. I mentioned that something that could be a good change up. I think Nota's a bit screwed, and actually, I think Nota will be kind of delighted that he gets 1 stuck on the edge of the site like that. Oh, and that's a lovely peek from Double Stack for Kiro. Materis trying to fight his way back, but not this time. It's going to be another tough one to find, and that makes it even more difficult. The man who brought back a previous significant disadvantage is now tagged down to 10 HP. He did it on 36 last time. I think this might be a little bit more difficult for him.
Yeah. I mean, he did have a brief opportunity as he rounded that corner. The AWP wasn't looking in his direction, but RUSHB wasn't prepared for it at all. However, I wonder if Muterus wins the foot race here in towards this B bomb side. Texi's going to arrive on the scene, playing around the generator. If he loses this gunfight, that would be devastating. It's not looking very clean right now for Texi. RUSHB is going to get in on the action as well. He doesn't have any health, as you mentioned, but he certainly does have some clean aim. Not going to be enough on this occasion. Muterus gets blinded, which leaves RUSHB high and dry. And at this point, it's about dealing damage. Try and keep that CT side economy honest. Nothing on offer. AWP will finish off the job, and RUSHB keep distance between themselves and Saw.
Yeah, at least a little bit of a gap, a little bit of breathing room. But Saw still have an opportunity to even up this half at 6 apiece. They've got a good bank built up now. You'd think RUSHB need the 7-5 or 8-4 at least once they go over to their attack. Good figure out of that round, though. I was surprised, as I said, that Nota got away with 1 stuck on the girder, next to the girder there on top of Double Stack. That's very often a position that just doesn't really work out for you. And he was fortunate to get 1 story, though. He spotted some information, scoped in on the little gap between the yellow tarp there.
Yeah.
And it helps out Ujex get that kill.
Exactly. I think that was the coordination, right? Story spots it. Really going to be tough to hit the shot there, but he can relay the info through to Ujex, who sprays, but he's got more work to do here. Into towards Skinny he goes.
Oh!
And he will completely eviscerate Kinky as well. A beautiful adjustment there from Ujex to get that 3rd frag.
That is a disgusting reaction, and Saw's Stars stepping up in some of these tough rounds now. Some of these important rounds that they need to stay in touch. Once it was RUSHB, now it's Ujex. And that 3rd kill is disgusting. Kinky, one of those things that probably Kinky is spraying at him while he's got his head to a side. Gets the immediate dink and just relaxes and thinks, okay, all's good. No worries. And just gets absolutely destroyed. Zoomer reactions, perhaps, compared to Kinky. Bless him. Roman will get 1 more, looking for these guns, of course. They can afford to hunt with the last round of the half coming in. Can they remove Kiro's AWP? There's a chance they could do so. Molotov will miss, though. So Kiro can try and stay alive, but he's got to stay alive for 10 more seconds, 5 more seconds, and he can't. Roman removes him. And look at the money.
Yeah, they needed that AWP. It would have been the only notable weapon coming into this next round. Now it's MP9s with the side of an M4. At least they do have that 1 rifle at their disposal. But when you consider the way that Saw had started this half, they fell, what, 5-1 I think it was? Was it even 5-0 at one point? No, I think it was 5-1. But still, Saw have fought back really nicely since then to get to this point.
Oh my goodness, I thought I was somehow no to getting that kill through a wall with an SMG. That's very unlikely, but it was Kiro peeking with him. But look at this. Immediately after losing those picks on A. Oh, Executor, I was going to say he might let his teammate die here, but he desperately needs at least one. He gets his one and picks up the AK. Saw a very, very quick in mid after that A presence, and it might still give them a bit of a glimmer of hope in this round. Nota charges through. He's trying to bait Kiro in, but now Kiro's almost out of bullets, and they check Executor's position perfectly. And of course, Jerks now exactly knows where Kiro is coming from, but Kiro manages to take Story still. So it's a 1v1 to end off half number 1 on Vertigo. Kiro, though, he's charging in on this one. I thought he'd be maybe playing it a little bit slower. Now a left-click smoke to try and get a little bit closer, but Ujerks is better. A quad kill to end off the half, and honestly, it was quite a lot better than I expected. That's a beautiful and impactful quad. We'll see you after a quick break. Nice recovery from Saw to even up the first half at 6 apiece, and their individuals really stepping up when needed. Arazdosh in that ridiculous 2 versus 4, and Ujerks getting a lovely quad as well on the last round of the half. And Matiris already looking to fight mid early on the CT pistol.
Oh my goodness. I mean, the CT pistol was not a successful one for Saw on the previous map, and it's looking like it could be more of the same. It's just numbers in towards middle. That's the name of the game here for Saw. Story is the 3rd player in. He's only got 3 kills to his name. They're certainly going to need him to light up the CT side if they're going to get the job done here on Vertigo. Their AWP is going to have to be an integral part of the defense. Or will be an integral part, should I say.
Yeah. This is now borderline impossible. but I was about to say impossible, and then Story got a kill. So it's not impossible anymore at all, because there is still an incendiary on Roman. If he times this nicely, when he hears the tap on the bomb, they might not be expecting an incendiary to be brought up on the pistol, but it's execute a plant. It will be thrown in now, a little bit earlier than maybe they necessarily wanted, still 50 seconds. But there is a flash prepared as well. It will be used by Roman to at least get Story close, and it's working out beautifully. The frags are quick back and forth. And in the end, Kiro, yeah, surprisingly, just slightly behind Roman, was the insurance policy. And it wasn't much of one, considering it was a 1 versus 1. So, good recovery.
Yeah, really good recovery there. I mean, I do like the plan from Saw, the way that they throw the incendiary to disrupt the plants and then try and flash their way forward. But as you say, everything was maybe 2 or 3 seconds earlier than what they would have liked, because otherwise that smoke would have completely faded and then the flash would have been more effective and maybe could have caught the T side off guard. However, it's going to be RUSHB who get their noses in front. Now they have to deal with the CT side force buy though.
Yeah, and once again, they've sacrificed one player to get at least one rifle in play. They got it on Jerks. That's the main man you'd probably want as well. Sorry, the one with no armor for that. And once again, RUSHB are happy to go full Galil and 1 AK. No SMGs in play.
Yeah, looking towards the future. Up against 4 hand cannons and an M4. So it's actually you, Jerks, and Kiro have got the 2 superior rifles in the server right now. 2 of the star players as well. The top frag is respectively for each of their teams. Muter is getting some info in towards middle. Big stack from Saw over towards on the T-bomb side. Is it going to work out? Looks like they're heading in that direction.
Oh, they're baiting in Story. I thought for sure it would work out a lot better than it did there for Saw.
Yeah.
They had so many numbers in that position. Jerks only got 1 as well in the midst of all that. I mean, damage was okay, but the fact that Muteris was fighting for his life with the Deagle and baiting in Story, who's directly underneath the window there, it's usually a position that can often get 2, but not this time for Story. Couldn't react with a second headshot, so yeah, this is a good start to the T side. Felico has to come in for Saw. RUSHB are going to be 9-6 up.
They should be. As long as this airstrike doesn't connect, there's still 4 AT grenades at Saw's disposal. Anybody keen for a game of catch, Trav? Oh, Kinky, he's going to play some catch of his own there. Oh god. Here it comes.
Maybe that's his kink.
Maybe. I mean, some people are into pain, you know?
Yeah. It's wild, but, you know. Whatever floats your boat and all that.
We don't judge.
We don't judge at all.
Well, we do. We just say we don't, right? Like that's
yeah, fair enough.
PC thing to do.
Low-key kind of true. I wondered how long it would take before he made a joke about Kinky.
I mean, it's the low-hanging fruit, but all fruit has to be picked at the end of the day, Trav.
If you want to eat it at the right time, yeah.
Waste.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to let it go to waste.
Yeah, waste sucks.
Exactly.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
When I say picking fruit, what's the first fruit that comes to mind?
I mean,
just an apple.
Probably an apple, but I don't know. I picked some blackberries at the end of last year, so
something different, right? You got to be original.
Yeah, we have a tiny little bramble bush in the edges of my garden, and the blackberries are usually quite abundant at the right time of year. Pretty fun, pretty tasty.
That's awesome. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, is what they say.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, very nice.
Alright, well, this has to be a sweet round for Saw. They've got their full investments at their disposal. They've fallen behind by 3 rounds again. They do find themselves on the CT side. They've got a good CT side on Vertigo. I mean, there's not much of a sample size for RUSHB, but historically they've struggled on their T side. So, gonna have to wait and see if that's gonna be the case here once again or not.
Yeah.
Saw still need to win 7 rounds on their CT side to get the job done 2-0. RUSHB just need another 4 from here, and then we see the light of Nuke.
Yeah, don't forget, you mentioned the Saw game against Fnatic at the RMR. that 6-map streak they won on those 3 BO3s against NIP, Enterprise, and Fnatic. One against Fnatic. They played 6 CT rounds, and they won all 6 of them. So, let's see how good their defense is against probably a team that's very hard to prepare for.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to describe it. They have no idea what to expect coming into this one, so they'll just be looking to play their own game. Make sure they play to win, not just playing not to lose against the underdogs. RUSHB happy to take their time here. Pretty decent utility rotation coming through from the T side as they start to dump their utility. Raining in towards A, and now they're taking control of ramp as well. Not sure that's where they're going to end, though. Doesn't look like it.
Oh, Dodge close up to the plywood. Is he going to get away with a kill here? Mutiris kind of needs to get one to bait Dodge in. Oh, I was going to say 2 might be enough, but he couldn't finish off that second, and the Molotov does reach Mutiris eventually. But Story's gone charging in here. Kiro doesn't expect that whatsoever, and nor does Texi. The trades come thick and fast, but they're mostly in Sword's favour. Roman's rotation was quick enough to make sure it didn't get out of hand. And yeah, I honestly, both those 2 positions from Story, I thought wouldn't necessarily work, but he went aggressive through that smoke quickly. And dealing with 2 like he did was more than enough.
Yeah, I like the fact that he doesn't hesitate, because he knows they've already killed 2 players on that B bomb site. They're not going to be expecting a 3rd player to deal with on the site itself. And remember, Story came into this half with 3 kills to his name. He's already found 6 frags since then, so certainly has been able to elevate his performance, as most AWPers do on a CT side. Not that he's got any kills with the AWP just yet in the half. This is such an important round for both of these teams, and more so Sword than RUSHB when you just look at the economic standing. Whoever loses this will be reset, but obviously RUSHB have more rounds to play with. Yep. And they've got more players to play with in this round as well.
So I won't be taking any of these rounds lightly, or any of these games in Challenger League lightly. They are, of course, a bona fide major team now. They've been a bona fide Pro League team in the past too. They want to make it back there again. So every little helps in terms of round difference and maps won. But this is a great chance for RUSHB here. A good old-fashioned walk up A late round when you still have good utility in the bank, especially when you're a pick up. Thankfully for Saw's case, they have stacked 3 players close. Texi is still trying to keep at least 1 defender on B, and that's when Story goes aggressive. It actually was a pretty nice crossfire there for Story and Roman, but sadly I don't really know how they only get 1 from it. Missed shots, full stop.
Yeah, everything going RUSHB's way. Bonplank going to follow suit at the Mutus. You just got to get out of dodge, carry the M4 through into the next round. There's no way you're going to recover this. I mean, Arazdoce has already accepted his fate. And that's double digits now for RUSHB. And you look at the money for Saw, as I postured at the start of the round, whoever loses this round is going to have to settle for an eco in the next. It looks like that's going to be Saw. Well, it will be Saw, obviously. So yeah, RUSHB edging closer and closer. Very
surprising they couldn't even get 1 on that ramp hold. I mentioned, being a bit more aggressive with it maybe was the right thing to do. A man down, especially on A, where you don't want to let yourself be executed upon. But in the end, Executor, even though he didn't do any of the executing, he definitely contributed with all that utility. So as Dolce Mutiris will save. RUSHB eking ever closer. And of course, you're absolutely spot on about the economy. Not in a good spot for Saw. They might have to just try and stack the 2 M4s somewhere. Hope for the best. That's what the tactical timeout there just thrown in now will definitely be used to discuss. But hope for the best that RUSHB rush into those 2 rifles.
Well, they could drop. Okay, they're not going to. I thought they might go ahead and just drop a couple of guns there.
Yeah, it would be very risky. It would have been 1 M4 and 1 FAMAS they would have been able to do. Which is like 4 players on a gun, but still.
They could have dropped 2 M4s. Mutus has spent $500 this round.
That's true.
Would have had 4 M4s at that point, but still, they are guaranteed to now have a full buy in the next round and have a half buy now, instead of just going all in on this round. It does make sense, right? Just playing that percentage-based game a bit more. See what they can do. Where do they position these M4s? That's a big question. Nuterus, he's got his in towards middle, and he's not wasting any time. Arisdoche, his towards ramp, or rather the B stairs, also looking for an early gunfight.
He's played here once before and got himself 1 3/4 kills. But obviously it's an incredibly common position to molly out. There is more than enough fire for RUSHB to remove that position, but this is the sort of thing that can work out. Will boost on toward gap, Nota of course, and RUSHB will spam the yellow grate, but just playing defensively at the moment. Don't want to let anything come through. Roman will take a bit of utility over there from Mateus. I believe Mateus had that one flash. He's given it over to Roman. Obviously, he'd have much more use of it than Mateus' position.
RUSHB just need to make sure that they don't get too predictable here, because they have been playing a very similar style in each of these rounds, you know, waiting until around that 45-second mark, then starting to make some moves. Muter is boosted up with this rifle. Is it being considered at all? It does look like it is, yes. Great headshot out of Nota. That's going to dispatch off the rifle. Sure, Ujerks recovers it, but he doesn't have armor to work with the rifle. Now all the utility going to rain in. We've seen they've got really good util. Nade finishes off Ujerks. That's the site cleared out and the round done and dusted.
Yeah, Arisdoche, of course, has a kit, so if you can somehow do some damage here, with Roman picking up the M4 as well, you'd think that maybe some damage is important at this stage of the game, especially considering RUSHB's money isn't, like, perfect, really, just yet. They have but maybe a buy in arrears if they somehow lost this round. But now, if they survive it with 5 players alive, they're obviously don't even have to think about the money anymore toward the end of this game. They're going to be 11-7 up. Saw trying to keep these 2 M4s alive so they have as much as possible. Story just sticking around with the P250. He's expendable. He can try for something. And there he goes.
Well, 5 players staying alive. I mean, don't think Note is going to be afforded the same luxury. Oh, Nuke actually does get far away enough, so all's well and ends well.
Yeah, bomb blasts are hard to judge these days.
Especially on Vertigo, because the verticality can be tough to predict in terms of how it's going to affect the explosion. Indeed. Here we go though, Trav. RUSHB 2 rounds away. They ran out of gas on Anubis. Doesn't look like that's going to happen here on Vertigo. Kept up good form throughout the entirety of the map so far.
Yes, sir. Story's finally got his AWP out again. It's been a while. And he's going to need to do something with it. And tasked with mid. And a defensive mid angle. It's kind of now or never for Saw in this game. You're absolutely right.
Exactly. All or nothing, man. Can they make it happen? It's going to be Story in towards middle. Looks like RUSHB are going to turn up the pace. I mentioned in the previous round they can't afford to become predictable, and this is exactly what I was looking for. However, Story still has his finger on the pulse. The pulse beats no longer for Nota or Kinky. Executed kind of finds a bit of a gap there, but unfortunately can't capitalize on it. And it is going to be just Texi and Kiro left remaining. Live by the sword, die by the sword. Decided to approach this round with pace, but it's worked out against them.
Don't forget, it was RUSHB who had a 9-7 lead after being 7-2 behind on map 1, and that's when Saw put the hammer down. Maybe Saw have put the hammer down and picked up a spanner instead to fix some of these problems they've been having on their CT side, because this one's gone perfectly.
Yeah. More of that, please, if you're a Saw fan. Doesn't look like neither Kiro or Texi wants anything to do with the rest of the round, despite the fact they've got a lot of money. You know, I'd like to see them just go for this, you know. Even just for the sake of inflicting damage. 5 players staying alive bodes really well for Saw's cause, considering that they're just, well, 2 potential rounds away from losing the map. I think with RUSHB having enough money in the bank account here to afford a full buy in the next, and potentially even the round after that, they should be trying to make something happen here.
Yeah, 5.4 and 5.7. It really is worth at least putting 1 player in to look for a kill. Guess they're thinking of future money as well. Because as I mentioned, they have enough money to not worry about it for a while. But if it gets to 11-10, 11 all... True.
Who's got time to plan for the future of the future? Are you saving for your pension yet, Trav? I'm not.
I think my dad's probably spoken to me about it, to be honest.
Oh, well, lucky you, mate.
Just one little...
you're thinking about.
Just a little thing to note as well. Kiro is having a superb series overall. First map, 23-13, 1.42 rating, 92 ADR. Second map, once again leading the way at 20-8. He's one to watch.
Yeah, you're right. Really good work coming through from Kiro on the AWP. And it's actually sometimes been the easier shots that he's struggled with a bit more, I've noticed. Either way, it is going to be Arrow's Dodger to come up good with an opening kill here. He's been relatively quiet in the past few rounds as he's slipped into a negative kill-death ratio. So we'll need to be so careful here, playing in and amongst these smoke grenades. My god, Kiro and Story.
Wow.
So close to becoming exposed to one another, but it's going to be Roman through the smoke who will ensure a two-man advantage.
That's actually kind of ridiculous that Story actually couldn't see anyone there as those smokes were broken. Switching between the angles at the bottom of ramp, and then Roman just sprays him through the smoke anyway. Got to feel a bit rough for RUSHB. They do get one kill back, but not before they recover things. Saw once again. 4 versus 2. Don't forget, Saw won their own 2v4 on their T half. It's these sort of situations which they can't afford to let go 3 rounds behind. Materis has gone hunting in toward T-spawn as well, so if there's another 2-man save to come through, it won't be happening here. Kinky is showing his hand toward B. But I don't think Executor with the recovered AWP will really be having much to say with 20 seconds to go now. Oh, deleted.
Yeah, lovely headshot coming through from Arrow's Dodger. As you said, Executor going to execute the plan of saving his AWP. And Muterus is already in the back lines hoping that somebody comes in his direction. It's not going to happen, unfortunately, mate. Although... no. Okay.
It won't spread. If it spread down every rung of the ladder, I think I'd be quite upset.
Yeah, all the way. That would be brutal. Either way, 11-9 now, Trav. Looking at the money for the T side, what's going to happen? Kiro can drop an AK. Texi can afford to buy himself. Yeah, they're fine. They'll have a decent arsenal of weaponry, but it is sort of looking like it might be slipping through their fingers here once again.
Yeah, I mean, they'll know what went before. It'll be in their minds. Group A, of course. Kicking off Group A in the first night of ESL Challenger League, Season 47 in the Europe Division this season. System 5 and Pera doing battle on the mainstream. Saw doing battle right here in front of your eyes on the B stream. I believe we've got some to come tomorrow as well, so stay tuned for that. At least current information I have is it will be on the same stream here tomorrow with 9 versus Sangal. Subject to change, but that should be the schedule. So you'll see us here again tomorrow, in that case.
There was a change in the approach to this round as well from RUSHB. They decided against going all in. Leaving enough money in the tanks to guarantee a full buy in the next. They still have some weapons to work with here coming into the 21st. Saw in pursuit of double digits. RUSHB looking to get themselves up to map points. At least Saw for the most part now have a buy in the bank, right?
Oh, okay. Talking about having a buy in the bank, but they're going to need to do more to the bank because there's a fast B play coming in. And thankfully, for Saw, Materius got one in the meantime too. Fantastic flash from Story. I've got to say, Story's flash assists have been a common theme in the recent games I've watched of Saw as well. It is a common theme in general for an AWPer to be super solid with the flash assists and on those right timings. But that was a superb one from Story.
I mean, you have to be, because you're more often than not the guy that's going to be alive later on in the round.
Yep.
The guy who's not going in first. So you have to be able to support your teammates. Comes part and parcel with the role. As we do see Saw drawing within one. RUSHB were leading 11-7 at one point. Looked like job was almost all but done at that point. But Saw have now eked their way back into the game. And they win this next round here, that's going to spell trouble for RUSHB.
Yeah, you mentioned that T-side save, which kept their money alive a little bit more, 10% more. Well, I mentioned that at that point, 11-10 or 11-all could be when the money is at its worst, and sadly, we could be in that situation now. Mitiris, okay, he's been dinked from the boost on B stairs. It's a bit spooky for Saw's leader.
Does make sense that RUSHB are going to try to go back towards the A bomb site here. I think it's where they've had most of their success throughout the half so far. Saw have tried to defend it from ramp from Skinny, but it hasn't actually worked out. And again, they're going to maintain these positions as the round ticks on. Normally, the CT side will fall back into the bomb site itself. Mutiris is applying pressure through mid, though, so he's going to get good information in the backstab. There's a rotation in towards A. Saw actually very well poised to deal with the imminent execute.
And Mutiris has made his way down the ladder silently as well. It's still being looked at by Executor. At least he hasn't completely left the ladder. And yes, Mutiris just checks the B connector first. And Executor gives Mutiris are dealing with. Damage to the smoke though. Kinky down to 15 HP, and Executor's been tagged as well, but he took Roman 4 getting that damage. These spams are so impactful. U-Jerks goes charging through, and if Texi wasn't toward Gap, there would have been a chance, but look at the time on the clock right now. 4 seconds, Story 1v2. He could go for a wall bang, but no! He legs Texi. If he tries the wall bang from CT Heaven there, he could win the round solely from doing that. In this case, they managed to deal with him, and RUSHB get themselves a map point.
Yeah, Mutiris gets ahead of himself there. You never want to commit to the actual flank when you start to take contact until you know your opponents have committed to the execute into the bomb site. RUSHB hadn't started to push into the A site yet, so they still had their focus on the flank. They were still setting themselves up with utility. Mutiris needed to wait for the info to come through from his teammates that they were actually applying pressure on that A-bomb site. It all falls apart. Saw desperately trying to deny that bomb plant at every corner, but they lose players in the process, and now RUSHB have locked in map point.
It's just a bit of a flash in the pan for RUSHB of recent rounds. Of course, it was 11-7. So you'd have to feel that Saw, with a full purchase still available and full belts of utility, they know that overtime is a very significant possibility here. But yeah, I mean, that was a tough situation for Saw. You could understand them wanting to throw bodies on the line to try and deny that plant, put it on the ground somewhere, so that having one player left alive is enough to win it. But in the end story, if you manage to get that kill toward Texi on Gap, and you would have known where the final player is, of course. Look at that other option that I mentioned of just going for the wall bang through the box. You can do it, I think, from pretty much every angle, but the one from CT near the Heaven area is sometimes quite easy to line up when the bomb's being planted on default like that. Couldn't get himself in that right plan, and it gives RUSHB a couple of chances to take this to a third.
Yeah, and the insurance of overtime as well. No way for them to lose the map in regulation. So they can breathe easy for the first time in the series. See how RUSHB go about their business again. It's more of the same, just happy to take their time and build themselves into the round. Bleed Saw of their utility as the time ticks on. Hopefully find an opening kill and then convert from there. Kind of just giving Kiro time, right? They're trying to give Kiro time to work ramp, see if there's anything on offer.
Yep. It's Roman and Jerk sort of playing with each other in that line. Roman, of course, number 11, just to reiterate. That's, of course, with the coach slots that we can manually enable for ECL. Does mess up the numbers slightly. Molotov toward Gap, and that counter utility comes in at the same time. And Nota gets caught off guard by throwing that. Look at this off angle from Roman, though. He's got a big job to do here. He's only 8 and 14 in this game. Does he check the sandbags? Oh, he has a good chance of taking that kill. The Executor takes it, and now Muturis fighting for his life in the open. How on earth is he doing so much damage right now? He's digged up Texi as well, and Story's just hit a collateral. It puts it all down to Kiro, the hero of the game so far for RUSHB. But look at the time on the clock. 6 seconds, got the plant if he goes now, but in comes the USP. It's scary with the flash coming through. Everyone's blind for a split second, but now there's no time left. And somehow, I think he's going to save behind these smokes. That's impactful considering the money that RUSHB have.
Wow, I mean, what a round, right? Muturis, I was surprised he was able to stay alive for so long. Then eventually he gets a kill. That dink was a lot of damage done, and then he lost his life out, but the collateral from Story, that was a wonderful multi-kill coming through from him. And that's rough for RUSHB. Look at what that's done to their economy. As you say, thankfully for Kiro, he's able to stay alive, because it's a really important continuation of the AK. And it looks like, well, they're going to employ their namesake here just towards the opposite side of the map. Finally, pace coming through from a team named RUSHB. They haven't played very aggressive Counter-Strike.
Maybe that's the irony of the name. Who knows?
True, true.
I'd have to ask one of them for that. But, yeah, already significant damage. I said this game kind of had overtime written all over it. Already a significant advantage for Saw in round 24. Story needs to be very careful. He's got multiple players in front of him, and I think he's just been dinked about 3 times. Once with the MAC-10, and maybe twice with the Galil. That's gotta hurt. And I mentioned they had a slight advantage. Not the case anymore. And they're gonna walk it back toward B. Now then, Saw are actually in trouble here. They're gonna work as a pack. The only person here ready for this defense is Arasdosh. And honestly, what can he do here? Does he move further forward? I think he's going to. Thankfully, Kinky's low, but he can sacrifice himself in this position. Massive lineup, though! There's 2, and Kinky's low HP. Somehow he's the one to get that kill, but Muteris was always going to trade it. 3v2 for Saw for OT.
Oh man, the players have rotated across for the CT side as well, so they're on the scene now. This bomb plant is becoming increasingly difficult to acquire. They will take it out, trying to bait players forward, and that's exactly what they do. Oh my god, they're going to kill a piece. Roman has to clutch 1 versus 2. He won't be able to, though. Kiro, the MVP of the map for RUSHB, no doubt there is the one who will get the job done at the end of the day, and they level the series.
Wow, how about that? Even in the 1v1, I kind of favoured Saw to take it to overtime, but RUSHB claw it over the line, and it's all down to the main man Kiro once again. I said the MVP, at least for RUSHB on map 1, he went like 23 and 12 or something, and he's stepped up with just as good, if not better, performance on map 2 to basically single-handedly drag his team over the line, and they will take us to Nuke. That's crazy.
Yeah, wonderful work coming through there at the end from RUSHB. They didn't run out of gas, as was the case on Anubis. They were able to get the job done, so I mean, I'm impressed, man, coming into the series, you know, seeing Saw playing against RUSHB, not really recognizing many names. Thought this was going to be a formality for the most part, but 13-10 on the first map, 13-11 on the second. Who the hell knows what Nuke has installed? I
know, right? And it's a map that we have quite a lot of knowledge on, actually. Out of all the maps that we kind of have for RUSHB, it's like second most played. They played it in Challenger League a bit toward the end of last year, of course. They beat TSM and ICLA on it. I mentioned those 2 games earlier. But yeah, I mean, Saw, historically, they had 3 maps in this series, which are all very good maps for them. Even the Decider Nuke, they've won the last 4 on, including that incredible 13-3 against NIP. And other matches in the open quals as well for that RMR, like against 9 Pandas, for example. So, yeah, I mean, they should still be the favourites, but at this point, if there are close rounds that go RUSHB's way, like we saw at the end of that game, who knows? I believe we've got the MVP for Vertigo, ready to go in a moment. We can have a chat about him. I reckon it's going to be Kiro, as just a prediction. And there it is. Look at that, 108 ADR. That's now 2 maps in a row from him with 23 kills. He's really having a great day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just eclipsing the ADR of Arasdoce from that first map as well. What the hell's going to happen on Nuke? It's certainly going to be explosive. Can Kiro keep up his great form we've seen from the previous 2 maps? Arasdoce looking really good as well. We'll wait and see. We'll get across the line, a short break, and then we're back with the decider.
Welcome back, guys, to Saw versus RUSHB. Mr. Kiro from RUSHB is having himself a day, as they say. It's been hours Dosh on Saw, who's been doing a lot of work, but now Kiro has overtaken him on the ADR. 2 maps, 100.5 ADR, 1.59 rating, and 46 kills. Can he do more of that on the decider of Nuke?
Well, it's absolutely fitting that it closed it out with the 1 versus, a 1v1. He was the one to finish off the job, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Either way, we do have Nuke to separate these two teams. As you say, we started off with the pick of RUSHB. It was Anubis, and they narrowly lost out 13-10. Then we went into Vertigo. They were leading quite comfortably, started to stumble towards the end, but then got the job done, Trav. So Nuke is now the decider, but this is supposed to be Saw's best map, right?
You'd think so. You'd think so. They did some amazing work on it in the RMR, of course. As I said to you before, we went into this entire series. I thought this entire veto has all like 3 really good Saw maps. That's why we've picked Saw for each and every single one of them. And I believe our prediction for the final map, of course, is Saw again. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to see anything else for me for this decider, but considering of what's gone before on Vertigo, Saw are fallible. I don't necessarily think after that nice comeback on map 1 that it is any of that happiness hangover from the RMR success in qualifying from the major. I think they performed quite well, but RUSHB on the second map just in general had quite a good solid performance, and Saw had a few tiny errors toward the end of their CT half.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you looked at the game on paper coming into this particular matchup, I thought it was a formality and that Saw we're going to steamroll RUSHB, but it's been anything but that, right? And I think you were probably onto something now that we've actually seen Saw playing a bit of a hangover from the RMR itself, playing on LAN, incredibly hyped games against teams they would have prepared for excessively. Now coming into a game that might never heard of some of the opponents that they have going on the server and have no idea what to expect, and it's caught them off guard. As for RUSHB, I mean, we've got to sing their praises, right? They have been playing good Counter-Strike. They've been playing coordinated, calculated, especially on the T side. Stark contrast from what I expected based on their name coming into the game. But it's been a great display from RUSHB so far.
Yeah, and of course we've got some news from the other stream, of course, as well on our schedule. I believe System 5 with the team that I didn't expect, which I should be absolutely clear. I thought it was the ex-Ickler with, you know, Mihu, Lekro, for example, but it's actually a completely different roster. Cree and Keen from Latvia alongside Python from the old Falcons team, Chill from the old Amiga team, and Patrick, of course, as well, the German. They managed to win that game 2-0, despite the kills and the KDs looking actually quite nice for the Para side. It's actually kind of funny when you see scoreboards looking skewed, but the result actually being completely the opposite. But yeah, System 5 managing to take that one 2-0, so a great start for them. Yeah, great start for them in this Group A, of course. Saw now 1-1 with RUSHB as we get our final map of Nuke to come through. Damn, like, where's it going to go? You'd think Saw will take it, but they need a good opening.
It should, though. I mean, they've played, Nuke 10 times in the past 3 months. They've won it on 8 occasions, so Nuke should certainly go Saw's way. It's been one of their strongholds for a while. I said the same about Vertigo going into that map, though, so at this point, who knows? I've been betting against RUSHB, and not literally, but in terms of the predictions, and I've been pretty nervous, and obviously was wrong on the previous map. So yeah, on paper, I'm sure Saw, you know, they should win this, but is that going to happen? Well, guess we'll have to wait and see. Not much longer.
Yeah, and it's weird as well, right? Because I said to you before the game, I expected Saw to not look as clean online as they did on LAN. It's just a natural thing for that to happen, I feel like, in the CS scene. But they actually came back really well. After that 7-2 lead on map 1, their opponents came back to 9-7, of course, and then they managed to pull it over the line just about. I was tempted to even pick RUSHB for one of these first 2 maps before we got underway. I stuck with my gut of Saw, the obvious pick, and who knows, in this final map decider, it's not a map that Saw are bad on, to say the least. It's one of their strong suits, but RUSHB, they play it a lot themselves, and you really never know.
Yeah, I mean, you've also got to keep in mind not just maps and statistics, but the way that the game's actually been playing out. The individuals have looked pretty rough so far on the side of Saw, I would say. You know, Roman is showing glimpses. Ujoke seems to be sort of finding his footing as the series goes on. Arizdocha's been okay, but no one's really been, you know, at their full potential that we know they're capable of. So they're looking fallible right now, our Saw. And on the flip side, RUSHB, I mean, they're looking like a team who could go on to win this.
Yeah, I mean, genuine possibility, of course. And as I said, with Group A, I feel like it's quite an open, well, probably the most open group in the entirety of Challenger League. And I mean, if you look at Group C, you've got Big Academy, Illuminar, Sprout Sinners, Aurora Rebels. That's, I feel like, the second most open. Then you look at Group A, you got System 5, Saw, Monty, Batera, RUSHB, and Pera. And of course, Monty have just, arguably, not arguably, factually, the strongest team in Group A. They've just lost SDY, so who knows where they're going to go next. So Group A is really there for the taking.
Yeah, super open-ended, right? A team like RUSHB would love to open up with a win as well here, especially against another one of the favorites to get through the group in terms of Saw. But here we go into Nuke, the decider of the series. Let's get into it.
Let's go. We already have the knife round, I believe, completed. And will be RUSHB to start on CT side. Story has got the utility alongside Jerks and Arizdocha. And I believe that nade, obviously, will be the common HE to break open Squeaky. There it goes. Smoke for main. If they want to, they can either dive down the vent or go to A.
Execute gaining some traction right now as they charge their way forward. Utility raining in. Nobody to meet them on the opposite side. Quite a detached setup coming through from the CT side, but a lot of missed shots as well. Executor has no idea where Story is. Death from above. And I don't even know Saw know what they're doing right now, but eventually they'll settle on the B-bomb side.
Yeah, it seems a bit of a betwixt in between feeling this round for Saw. Just trying to find where they get the picks first, and yeah, the fact that Nota didn't manage to connect a bullet as they dove down the vents is going to be a bit rough. But hang on a second, it's still only a 3v4. There's a glimmer of hope. Nota will leap his way down. Jerks needs to be careful not to give his life up for free because Texi's dealt with Roman. Good timing on this peek from Jerks, but he's out of bullets. Oh, the second to last just manages to get another head, and that's actually a pretty crucial shot to hit. There is no time for Texi. He's going to have to fall away. Story has won it by staying alive. Saw take the all-important beginning to this game of Nuke, and they'll both go down to the bomb. So everyone dies in our first round of map 3.
I feel like it was always going to be a struggle for RUSHB in terms of time there to make that retake happen, just because of how quickly Saw had actually gotten control of that B-bomb site and how much disarray or how difficult it was for RUSHB to try and get in a position to make that retake happen. So things were always stacked up against them. Doesn't work out again. They've lost 3. We haven't seen a CT side pistol 1 yet in the series, Trav. 5 for 5 on the T side so far.
That's actually a very good point. I hadn't noticed that. You're good at noticing those things. That's why I've got you here.
Oh, mate. At least I contribute something.
Don't do yourself a disservice. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool that Saw were able to get away with that. I think in the end, it was, as you say, pretty much a guarantee. So I don't think RUSHB had a kit on any of those three retaking players either. So what can you do?
Yeah, not as much initiative being taken here by RUSHB compared to what we've seen in these sort of half-buy rounds gone by. And they've looked to try and force the issue a bit more and get into the faces of Saw. This time they're happier to just kind of bide their time. But Saw have circumvented them by going in towards ramp here. No presence at all from the CT side.
We're going to be wary of these sort of force buys. A little bit of a close one there. Glass broken open, but now with the smoke up, a tactical smoke is all he can do, and Jerks, he may get dinked by that P250, but the reaction says no to that. In the end, they actually got all 5 players up right now before Texi finally shows up, but that is just a consolation for a $600 bonus. Saw will take it comfortably, and obviously that will put RUSHB onto their pistols again.
Yeah,
important to get a good T-side start as well.
They were trying to just figure out there exactly what was going on in terms of the investment out of RUSHB.
Yeah.
Just pack-based mentality, no unnecessary risks taken, nobody left isolated. That was one of the problems when they lost that second round on Vertigo after winning the T-side pistol. They lost to that exact hot-buy. Kind of got caught off guard one by one. Nice nades to open up there, taking down the Kingpin on Kiro. If Kiro doesn't pitch up for RUSHB, then they'll be in a lot of problems. They've relied on him heavily throughout the series so far.
Tiris getting a couple on the anti-eco. Yeah, Kiro is an important factor. Of course, for some of you guys who may be just arriving, coming to watch the final map of a BO3, who might not know much about RUSHB, Kinky is the OG IGL from the old Dream Eaters Hard Legion days. He's 32 now, is Kinky, and he's trying to lead some youngsters to some more success. Nota and Texi are both 16 years of age. Ones to keep an eye on for the future. And I've been very impressed by some plays from Nota in this BO3.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I mean, lit the server up a couple of times. A lot of impactful frags as well coming through from Nota. Seen some good crosshair placement out of him. Some good decision making. Either way, 3-0. Strong start here for Saw on the decider. As we head into this first gun round, Kiro has the AWP at his disposal. Rifles outside of that. See if they can get themselves on the board.
And Kiro has his AWP, which is what we want to see, like you say. .46.
Where does he go? Okay, outside, all the way back from Zywoo's box.
Yeah. Jump throw nade, of course, to break open those smokes, and Materis immediately hesitates when he sees there is no cover for a split second. But they'll still manage to make their way across. Oh, there's going to be a gap there, though. Ujerk's a little bit too close to the edge of the fence there. And because of that, the long-range angle that Kiro can see from here makes it way too easy for him. And double up as well. Story can't get his quick reaction to deal with Texi, and this is falling apart for Saw with that player in secret, of course. I believe in Kinky. In 1 kill back 2. Tight angle for Kiro. Okay, makes it 3 for him. What did we say about him? He's got a triple already, and he's just wall-banged through Arasdosh from that heaven into secret. That is dirty stuff.
Yeah. Nearly adds a fourth to the sequence. Great work coming through from Kiro, picking and choosing his battles wisely and the angles at which he takes those battles. Ujerks was a bit lazy there. You can't afford to walk so far away from the smoke grenades, sort of hugging the fence, because that's when you leave yourself exposed. You got to hug the smoke grenades, if not crouch when you're crossing that threshold, to ensure you don't expose yourself to any AWP on top by the aircons there on the catwalk. Either way.
Yeah.
Maybe Kiro giving us a taste of what to expect throughout the rest of the half here.
Unusual error from Jerks. Usually he knows his angles, but talking about knowing his angles, goodness me, he's down toward mini roof already. He can be jumping down toward main if they're not careful. Thankfully, they get the information as quickly as possible. And Nota reacts, which means ramp is the next option, and Risk is a bit disconnected from Saw in these next few rounds. Concerning if you're a Portuguese fan.
Yeah, 5v3, they do have some map control, but it looks like Hero's aware of Roman's forward position. Doesn't mean he's going to hit the shot, though, but he has got support from Texi. Great defense coming through from RUSHB, unorthodox. Not the fights they would have expected to have to take, especially not with 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock, but yeah, they were in that position, they were able to make it work. Saw won't have any money left after they lose this round, so RUSHB start to build their campaign here on the decider.
While Nuke has always been a comfortable map for Saw in the history of their, well, basically entire timeline in Counter-Strike, I feel like it's one they can show some nervy errors on. Remember in past RMRs, it was one they would always go to as a pick, and they'd always struggle on. It's only now they've managed to find a little bit extra to finally qualify for a major. Kinky will remove his counterpart IGL Materis. And as you so rightly say, it's now put Sword down to pistols again. They might give an idea of maybe a Hero Galil or Hero AK that Roman or Mutiris could perhaps drop that or buy it up themselves. And that's probably a pause that they're putting in now to decide exactly what their buy will be. And to take a breather too, because the last couple of rounds have been a bit disconnected. A few errors creeping in, even something as simple as that instance of Jerks walking too close to the fence.
Yeah.
And then getting picked apart by Kiro.
Not going to have much to work with coming into this next round on the T side. Couple upgraded pistols, some light utility as well. Probably going to see a fast-paced play. More often than not, the option employed in this sort of a round. But this is good for RUSHB. I mean, they've kept majority of their players alive in the 2 rounds that they've won now. Heroes coming alive in a big way. Signs are looking pretty good right now for the CT side in the early stages.
Indeed.
RUSHB are making Saw work hard in this game, Trav. They're making them sweat for this victory if they're going to get there.
Texi, ready toward ramp. In case that rush does come in. It's just pistols. Eagle on Roman with the Kevlar is the only thing that we're going to afford, and Story just accepts what's coming his way. Nice damage from Nota. But he's careful now. There's no reason to go in for more and lose that AK. In a very good position with the AK on the CT side. Mutiris is playing with the ladder, trying to be a nuisance, and now Texi will hear the pistols coming his way. Managed to get himself 2 from that. And then a nade comes flying in from Kiro to double Kobe the last 2. And we're back even again at 3 apiece.
I like the molly there from Texi because it keeps them at bay, but it still gives you a chance to have a gunfight with them because there's a bit of space and room behind it for the T's to work with, but they can't actually cross into ramp. So nice work there from Texi. You guys can have a gunfight with me, but only from over there, not any closer. So your pistol's negated.
Yeah, I mean, like, a more inexperienced ramp player might be throwing the molly over the top of the box to try and actually you know, stop them from entering in, but he realised they were too close and would have just taken a few ticks running through it and could maybe overwhelm him, so he throws it in the entrance instead. Is the right thing to do.
Look how light Saw are on utility already. I'm assuming there might be a couple pieces dumped in spawn there for Arrow's Dodger to recover. If not, they've got 1 piece of each type of util left at their disposal, and there's still 1:20 on the clock.
Yeah, they are thin on full belts, that's for sure. And if U-Jerks was to go down, then of course that is a massive problem, as he's got the main majority of it. Mutiris will get down towards Secret and at least show his presence and force that defense away. Kiro is waiting for the jump across. That's why his crosshair is positioned so high. Now I'll get his information. That's going to be a good HE. Doesn't do as much damage as I thought, but Kinky takes Story in the meantime. They're going to just dive up the ladder toward hell. That would be very, very dangerous. Kinky isn't ready for that. And they will just go 3 up the ladder. Is Executor ready? Now he is, but he's stuck in a very difficult position, and Arrow's Dosh will take him down. 4 versus 3. Change up on the strategy from Saw, and it's worked out for a bomb plant and a man advantage in the after plant.
Yeah, really important round as well, right? The success coming here because it means that they're going to regain the lead and make sure that RUSHB don't continue this momentum. And they're just going to fold their cards, fold their hand here at the end of the round. No need to attempt the retake. Not much going for them. Carry the guns through. Not normally the way you end up on the A-bomb side, but it worked out well for them.
Yeah, sometimes a strategy like that can be used on a pistol, which makes a little bit more sense when you've got that higher movement with the Glocks. But not this time. That's a bit rough from Texi. Hero now is under a bit of pressure. Going over the Deagle out instead, and that's not the way to do it. 2 will go down to the bomb on Saw, which is not great for their own money, but they have limited RUSHBs as well. Problem is that they already had a bank built up, of course. So I feel like that's more of a problem for Saw than it is for RUSHB in that instance.
Yeah, you're probably right. We'll see if that does come back to haunt them. I mean, yeah, sure, Saw win the round, but they spend a lot of money in the process.
Yeah.
See what the 7th or I suppose the 8th round has in store for us. We've got a bit of a pause here. Pauses have been resolved quite quickly in the series so far.
Yeah, and
Admins on point.
Yeah, I mentioned as well that 2 going down to the bomb is unfortunate, but it's more impactful for Saw. Like I said, I mean, Roman's only on the Galil now, so not the end of the world, but not something they would have ideally wanted, because if RUSHB just hit back straight away again, they still have a bank to fall back on, and Saw don't. Both teams on, of course, on 1900 loss bonus, but RUSHB have 3, probably 4 of their 5, with more than enough in reserve. Faster play.
Looks like, yeah, change of pace coming through from Saw right now. Muterus is wearing those bullets though, man. He's taking a lot of damage as he emerges out the squeaky door. And gonna go back with his tail between his legs. Neck point of contact on top of mouth. Oh man, Kinky, he's looking for this gunfight right now, but looks like U-Jerks is gonna be able to avoid it for the time being. And he could have the element of surprise on his side now. As that smoke starts to fade, maybe Story can take the bait away from him.
It's a bit awkward now. Once again, Saw are kind of spread out in positions where if they do swing a little bit too far, they can just be picked apart one by one. Jerks will drop down, spotted out by Kinky, and now he realizes there's no really real need to face that. You can just let them have outside and worry about the sites themselves. Jerks toward Garage, I think realizes he's being tapped down by 2 different angles, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care one jot. He's removed Texie beautifully.
Look how much work he's been able to do there as well. In conjunction with Story, they've taken so much attention towards outside that their teammates have just been able to go down ramp into a vacant B bomb site. So not only are they getting that opening frag, but they've also created a huge amount of space. Retake certainly on the cards here for RUSHB. They've got a couple of kits, they've got some utility to work with as well. Looking to try and find some kills to kickstart the retake right now. Nobody really able to find a way into the bomb site. Muterus running out of ammo, couple players low on health here, but the time is ticking away, and it looks like they've decided to pull the plug altogether.
Oh, I mean, again, damage could be significant here. Multiple Saw players could go up to the bomb. RUSHB are going to save. I think they might have just found an exit route in time, and they should be alright. Materius might be quite close for them, but I think they've backed away to the best corner possible, and yes, it's actually Nota and Kinky that go down to the bomb, which is a surprise. They tried to get away with those guns, and in the end only get away with 2, so just like that, again, now their economy is a bit more limited. They had that 1 buy in arrears like I mentioned, but not as good as it would have been. Good take from Saw. Good heads-up knowledge of the map and what's open at the right time once they pulled those ramp defenders away, like you said. Mostly down to Jerks as well.
Yeah, great work coming through. He's really coming alive here on the Decider, which is what they want from their star rifler, right? Let's see, RUSHB again able to afford a decent investment, but this is where the buck stops, and this is where the gravy train ends. Lose this round 6-3, certainly becomes 7-3, and Saw on the T side winning 7 out of 10 rounds. They'd be loving life at that point, Trav.
Not sure I'd want to be on a gravy train, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good time. Good time on the gravy train. Everyone knows that.
Alright, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Ramp taken on round 9 for Saw. Again, they've pushed RUSHB away. And when you take ramp, of course, on the T side of Nuke, you have plenty of options, and you don't really have much information if you're the CT side. Saw could walk back and do an execute on A. They could dive down ramp. They could even go back up hell like they've done once already. Multiple options.
I think that's what the problem is for RUSHB. Look at how they've had to set themselves up accordingly. Texie's all the way back towards CT spawn and not controlling outside. He's just watching hell at this point. Executor having to push up towards Squeaky. You've got one player who's watching mouth, and it's actually, excuse me, it's Kinky who's in CT spawn controlling hell, and he's done a great job of it. Maybe the god of the underworld coming through from him. No idea what's going on there from Executor. He's in midair, not going to stick the landing, and now it's a 3v3.
Yeah, no landings were stuck there, that's for sure. Only a landing into his grave. They're not checking heaven. That's a big oversight from Saw. No, they'd come up the ladder, so maybe they're not expecting someone to be heaven so quickly. But now 9 seconds. Notice trying to do his best, but Meteorus is doing so much work. He's tapped down Texi with a few bullets in the clip, and it leaves it down to the Sweet Rice himself to close it out just by the skin of his teeth. Saw have double the score of RUSHB, but not without a struggle.
Yeah, keyword being struggle, but they do still get across the line, and look at what that does to RUSHB's economy. They've now got nothing to work with going into the next, and Saw will waltz onto that 7th round. Got the ball rolling here, they've got the momentum behind them. I mean, RUSHB have started slowly once already in the series, and they're able to get that campaign back on track, and they're going to have to do it again here. I mean, you know for a fact that Saw will have better mental fortitude, more tenacity, you know, better stamina in a series as well than their counterparts RUSHB. RUSHB, you know, fought hard on that first map where they narrowly lost out 13-10. It then took a lot out of them to win 13-11 in the second map. So how much energy do they really have left, Trav?
That is the question. And you're right about the snowballing of the scoreline. 7-3 could be imminent, should be imminent. Nice boost up on ramp though, of course. It's going to often work out for a freebie. Especially with that impactful 5-7. Not sure that's going to be close enough range from up there to be a one-shot headshot. But the dinks will be painful. Materius is already on B. He's trying to clear it all out. And actually, if he pops his head up from ramp here, you'll probably see that boosted up 5-7 pretty quickly. And it'll be even harder for the pistol to get the kill. Oh, do you see a leg? There it is. He's been dinked though. There is that instant dink that I mentioned. And that activates Kiro with the scout. There's actually more players here than I think Saw would have hoped. But Jerks has absolutely destroyed Kiro. See you next round, son.
I mean, this rifling combo of U-Jerks and Aristotle is one of the most deadly in the tier 2 space, right? When they're both on. These guys can absolutely tear up an opponent. And you just saw how quickly those kills came through for them, man. I mean, how fast did U-Jerks get that trade and then just step out into the scope of the scout? Giving out haircuts for free at this point.
He's just trusting his teammates that would trade as well, because obviously he's got many men alongside him in that instance. Kinky trying to save his 5-7. He's got Kevlar, so it's definitely worth the save.